I don't know if Major League broadcasters, by and large, are in the business of criticizing other Major League teams. Not that they won't do it, but there's only 30 Major League teams. I don't know if Don and Mudd are going to go on this soliloquy criticizing A's ownership. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know if it's necessarily what – I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to go out of turn, so to speak, like that, like you and I will do every single day. We don't work for Major League Baseball, you know?
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. But I also do think there's this kind of like unwritten agreement.
You can kill the A's.
That, hey, if you guys want to rip the A's, we're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of John and Jim, and we will react to Padres-A's series finale once this game goes final. Padres, despite injuries that we'll talk about for a good portion of today's show, are still trying to win a series in Sacramento and get back home 10-3 overall. They'll have Thursday off before playing the Rockies on Friday. Kevin Acee will join us from Sacramento later around 5 p.m. We'll hear from Mike Schilt when this game goes final. Jim just gave you the update. Padres are leading 2-1. So the good news is the good news. 9-3, trying to win a series. They've played well. The bad news is significant, I would say. We talked about Jackson Merrill yesterday. We learned about it on air. He's on the IL. He'll miss the next week plus potentially with his hamstring. Then last night, as Padres fans know by now, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth leave the game. Hopefully precautionary. They're not playing today for the Padres in Sacramento, but overcoming injuries is part of the game, so to speak. All sports, including Major League Baseball, it's the true marathon. How many can they overcome? And hopefully they've dodged anything significant with Tatis and Cronenworth. We just don't know as of yet. That's at least the hope, but that's always the hope.
Do you expect to know anytime soon?
I expect to know the next time I see them on the field if they're healthy.
And if it's not on Friday, then I do think there is cause for concern that these two guys are going to go on the IL, especially Fernando Tatis Jr. You know, Jake Cronenworth after the game, it was described as cramps. Now, it didn't look like he had cramps in the moment. I mean, he looked like he was wincing in a lot of pain. And again, cramps are what they are. And he got hit, right in the back, right in the kidney area.
It looked
in Chicago.
It
was bad. I thought he twisted and like turned his knee and like hurt his knee or his ankle or something. But the Fernando injury to me is much more concerning because anytime you put the two words together of surgically repaired and irritation, that, especially with Fernando Tatis Jr., a guy that can't stay healthy, yeah, that concerns me.
Yeah, like last night, we had this conversation on YouTube like we always do. We said, like, what are you more concerned by? Merrill, who's actually on the IL right now with his hamstring, Tatis, who tweaked a shoulder, or, again, Jake Cronenworth, who was dealing with that hit by pitch. And overwhelmingly, and we had over 400 votes, over 70% of people said they were more concerned with Tatis because he is a little bit of like a handle with care guy. Right? When they put fragile on the box, when it arrives at your house and they throw it, even though it says fragile on the box.
It breaks very easily.
Yeah, like he, unfortunately, has always dealt with injuries throughout the course of his career, even off-field injuries that we talked about before the suspension a couple of years ago. I looked it up last night. I looked at his career transactions. How many times did I say he's been placed on the IL? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 6, maybe?
Maybe more.
6 or 7 times. Now, he hasn't been placed on the IL, thankfully, as of yet. But to your point, we don't know. They can say it's a tweak. They can say Cronenworth is dealing with cramping. They can say Merrill's dealing with a minor hamstring. But 24 hours after the minor hamstring, Merrill was on the IL. I didn't expect that. That surprised me. And maybe I'm not expecting Tatis or Cronenworth, but am I going to be that surprised considering how this typically plays out?
No, not one bit. The team will tell you one thing, and then all the fans and everybody in the media like, okay, he's fine. Just a one-day thing, precautionary. Boom, right. IL.
Right.
Like, oh, his arm is fine. Boom, Tommy John. Like that's just how this organization is, Now, again, it does take time to figure out the extent of injuries, like knowing the extent of injuries right after they happen. That's kind of impossible, but, kind of leading it on, like everything's going to be okay. He'll be back in there. Oh, he's on the IL. That happens way too much with this organization. So until I see Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth back in the lineup, I will have concern. Mostly for Fernando, than Jake. But still, for both those guys, I wouldn't put out an IL stint out of the realm of possibility.
No, and hopefully they could avoid it, because the thing that we harped on most in the preseason during spring training was, yes, their roster looks good, but we do have questions about their overall depth. Now, I think any minor injury should be able to be overcome. You put one player on the IL for 10 days. That's not going to tank your season. So, and that was never the expectation yesterday with Jackson Merrill going on. Nobody said, oh, Merrill's on, they can't win. But how many players, key players, could you be without and continue to have a really productive season like last year? They're already without you, Darvish. They'll be without Merrill, hopefully only short term. Hopefully Tatis Cronenworth are back at the field Friday, but if not, it opens up a whole new conversation if they're not. So you have to overcome injuries. All teams will deal with it, but how many injuries can the Padres overcome to get to where they want to go? The good news is it's April. The good news is they're 9-3. The bad news is there's some guys out there right now that aren't anywhere near 100% based on what we've been watching.
It's crazy how things change in a matter of just like 7 days, in a matter of a couple days, 2 days,
24, 48 hours.
And every time talking about the Padres' great start, it was always followed with, if they could stay healthy and things can change, and the course of a 162 game season, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. It's not like you said last night, there's no straight line ever in a baseball season. Like, rarely have you seen that. Even the Dodgers last year, they didn't have a straight line all the way to the World Series. How many things they had to deal with as far as like injuries go. Now, again, they're the team that has the highest payroll, so can't really say they overcame so much. Sure. But it stands pat is like every single team in the sport, in every sport, it's never a straight through line. There's always some adversity. You always have to figure it out. Next man up mentality. And the saying that Schultz always uses, what was it? It's
winners find solutions.
Yeah, there we go.
You are right. There's always like an exception to a rule. Like there was a 116 win Mariner team. Well, they lost in the ALCS.
Yeah.
So that's not a straight line. And there's been 17-0 football teams. Maybe New England was 16-0 when they lost in the Super Bowl. Like that's not a straight line. They lost in the Super Bowl. It's so rare for everything to go perfectly all season long. I would even use the Dodgers last year. Their regular season was not a straight line.
No,
winning 98 games was below what they had done on average over the prior 10 seasons. Yeah, they won the World Series in the end. But with this Padres team, you're right. Why would we expect anything else?
No.
Last year's 93-win team was the second most wins in the history of the franchise, and they were 50-50 during that season. So why would we expect the 9-3 start to just duplicate, and all of a sudden you look up, they're 40-16 or whatever? It's not going to be like that. But I think all things considered, you're taking the start even with the Merrill situation because you think the Merrill thing is a short-term situation and hopefully he's back in the field in a week.
The only other time that I can think of like recent memory where a team had a straight line through, and again, I wasn't intently watching their season, but the 98 Yankees.
Yeah. I mean, there's historically good teams. Maybe one of these Chiefs Super Bowl teams, one of them that went like 15-2 in a regular season, then won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they've always been in like every Super Bowl they've won, they've trailed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But anyway, you are going to have to right away deal with injuries and see how the depth of your team is going to fare. You hope that these aren't long-term injuries. It doesn't sound like long-term injuries, but hey, we know the history with Fernando Tatis Jr. This shoulder potentially could turn into a nagging long-term injury like last year and his stress reaction in his leg.
Right.
The wrist, the shoulder subluxation, the back, the groin, there's been so many times with Tatis that he's had injuries and it just lingers and lingers and lingers. And then he gets put on the IL over and over and over again. And he misses significant time. And once again, now we're sitting here wondering, is this irritation to his surgically repaired left shoulder that he, hurt the other night because he went YOLO slide into third and then hurt it again on a swing? Is that something that's going to be all of a sudden just magically better and 100% by Friday?
Yeah, he's the one guy where you're like, you can't afford to have him on the IL, not because it can't be overcome. Remember, last year they played amazingly without him. Not because they didn't have him. They just happened to play great. When he was out, they played great baseball. That happened in the second half of the year. The reason I say you can't afford to put him on the IL is like, what a blow to his ego and any perception of him ever putting together a full season if he happened to go on the IL in 2025. Because here's a 26-year-old that in his 7th year has not played a complete season. It's almost like, if not now, then when?
Right.
And the truth is, he could go on the IL this year and then be healthy next year. But at what point is it like the boy who cried wolf? And you're like, I don't believe you. I don't want to hear next February, if you go on the IL this year, I've never felt better in my life. And I've put everything together, right? Like, it's not Tatis's fault. I don't blame players for getting hurt.
It's his body.
Yeah, exactly. It's not his fault. It's not my fault I can't bench 155.
Well,
maybe that's on me. But like, it's not his fault he tweaked his surgically repaired shoulder. I guess I've run out of any like rope for Fernando Tatis Jr. not being on the field as a fan, as an observer.
It's frustrating, and you're frustrated that his body is, just not giving him any benefit of the. Like, it's just not helping him. He's trying to stay out there. It's not like he's wanting to get injured.
Exactly.
But his body's letting him down at every turn.
In his 20s.
And 26 years old, and he's just injured all the time. And it's very frustrating from a fan's perspective, because this guy got this 14-year, $340 million contract, which, sometimes people forget.
Yep.
And when that thing starts kicking into $30 million a year, he's going to be paid like a guy that's expected to be a every year type of all-star player.
We both stick by the idea that pound for pound, Tatis divided by plate appearance is one of the best players in the sport, right? Like, he's maximizing his ability when out there by and large. Mm-hmm. He might not be Shohei Ohtani, but he's a very productive major league hitter, a weapon, an offensive weapon. He truly is. But what's the saying? Best ability is availability. That's a football. That's more of a football talking line. And we mentioned this last night with Machado. For everything we've ever said about Manny Machado, the reason he likely ends up in the Hall of Fame is he puts on the cleats every single day.
Yeah, and that's just
every single day.
Every day.
And I said this last night. If Machado had missed the same percent of career games as Tatis and was playing right now for the Padres, I would be saying today, with this 32-year-old player, man, what he could have been. We'll never know what a healthy Manny Machado. I would say, man, he could have hit 500 home runs, Jim, if he was healthy. He could have had 300 or 3,000 hits, Jim, if he was healthy. That's what I would be saying if Machado had missed 35% of his games over the last 10 years.
Now, again, it is.
Hopefully he's in the lineup.
Is Tatis going to? Are we acting like Tatis is going to miss significant time here?
No, we're just making a point.
I hope he doesn't miss significant time. I hope that he's back out there on Friday and everything's fine. That would be great. That today, just, take a day, an off day tomorrow, rest up, be back out there on Friday. Because also, by the way, if Jake and Toddy aren't there on Friday, they're down 2 men. And you're going to need to figure out what you're going to do with those 2 players. So hopefully it's just, a rest day today, and then you got an off day tomorrow. You're back in lineup Friday, but I am already like counting down the minutes until that lineup on Friday, because if Tatis and Jake are in the lineup, I would suspect the IL is more than likely than not.
Well, you can't play 2 players down.
Right.
For more than like a day or 2, which is what they're doing today.
Yeah.
But you can't play 2 players down for a week.
It took them a game to put Jackson on the IL.
Which I think is a fair reaction, because they're probably waiting to see how he's feeling and going through some type of process.
But wouldn't you think that if you get to Friday and Tatis is like, my shoulder still doesn't feel right, and Jake's like, I'm pretty sore, wouldn't you think IL's kind of in the future here for those 2?
For one of them, potentially. I think you're going to try to keep both off, but you're right. You can't play 2 men down come Friday against the Colorado Rockies. All right, we'll keep you updated on Padres and A's. San Diego leading 2-1 in the 7th inning, trying to win a series. When the game goes final, we'll hear from Mike Schill, plus Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. On the other side, let's switch the NBA momentarily. Huge game tonight. Lakers, Mavs, the return of Luka for the first time since the trade. What's the expectation there? Back to the Padres coming up later this hour as well. Stay with us, John and Jim. Build and React. John and Jim with you until 6 p.m. If you missed our conversation with a longtime Major League Soccer player who's with MLS season pass, Dax McCarty, who has such high praise for SDFC, you're going to hear that coming up in about 10 minutes. So you'll hear a conversation that was from yesterday late afternoon. If you missed Dax McCarty, you'll hear that coming up in about 10 minutes. But we'll hear from Mike Schill. Kevin Acey will join us, by the way, at 5 p.m. as well. And also, it is iHeartRadio week on Wheel of Fortune, Jim. Tonight, you at home have the chance to win an exclusive VIP experience at our very own iHeartRadio Theater in L.A. Watch Wheel of Fortune. You can check your local listings.
Okay.
All right. So switching gears for a moment, because I do think nationally this is hugely significant. The Luka trade, which has now been over 2 months. And, of course, you can hear Lakers basketball right here on San Diego Sports 760. Can you hear Lakers Mavs?
No,
not that. But you can hear a lot of Lakers games.
Yeah.
You can hear SDFC midweek live. I promise you that.
Tonight at 6 p.m.
But Lakers in Dallas for the first time since the trade. Luka returning. LeBron versus AD for the first time in like 6 seasons.
Is AD healthy?
I don't know the answer to that.
That would be a no.
Okay, LeBron versus a team that has AD on it, but he's not playing for the first time in 6 seasons. Maybe, but they played in LA. What's the ramification? What's this going to look like? Luka back in Dallas for the first time since a trade that was universally hated in Dallas.
Standing ovation. Fans are going to give him his flowers. This is not going to be like the LeBron returning to Cleveland when he did for the first time
after Miami.
When he signed with Miami.
Way different circumstances.
Way different.
Free agent, trade. But are Dallas Maverick fans going to make it known how much angst they have towards their ownership and front office?
I would think so. By, cheering Luka and, maybe starting some chants that are pro Luka and anti Dallas.
Right.
You'll see a lot of signs there, I'm sure, which, I'm curious to see what they will say. But the one thing that does bum me out is Dallas is not good. Mm-hmm. And it would have made this matchup all that much better if Kyrie wasn't hurt and AD wasn't hurt and Dallas actually was good and they were healthy, because then you could have, these two teams, duking it out for, maybe playoff positioning. And hell, maybe even they would be looking at a first round matchup
series. Yeah.
And now that's just not the case. I know Dallas is probably going to make it in as a play-in, team,
right? As
I think the 10th or 9th seed, but let's be real. Dallas is not doing anything. They are so banged up that they're just not, they're average at best. And so from that standpoint, it kind of waters down the matchup for me. Yes, it still is Luka returning to Dallas, but it would have been way more exciting if Luka returns to Dallas and, oh, by the way, the Mavs are hot with like Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. That would have been must-watch television tonight for me if that were the case.
What happened last night, by the way? The Lakers are coming off a home win over Oklahoma City. They go to OKC last night. They lose by 16, and Luka was ejected from that game in the fourth quarter. Right? Something with a fan, wasn't it?
So, yeah, he was running on the court and he yelled at a fan.
Yep.
And the ref got very sensitive and ejected Luka late in that fourth quarter when it was a close game, in a very important game too.
Right.
For LA, not OKC. I mean, some of these refs, again, not all of them, but a good amount are just proving how awful refereeing and officiating goes in professional sports. I mean, it's a joke. What you're going to eject Luka for yelling at a fan?
Why are people there? You have to remember, if I'm in Oklahoma City, where they are so passionate about the Thunder, and the Lakers come there twice a year, and maybe one time a year, but let's just say twice a year, even in the same conference, they are there to see Luka. They're not there to see you. And now, again, if there's some ridiculous circumstance, okay, like they have to play within the rules, but you're ejecting one of the biggest stars in the sport in a critical game in a fourth quarter that's tight. You better have an absurdly good reason to do that. You better. Otherwise, that's ridiculous. And like we talk about all the time with officiating in sports, what are the repercussions? What are the consequences of any of this?
It's a ref with a personal agenda. Like
You saw the thing with Arise today or no?
I did, and I want to talk about that.
So it's just a quick conversation on it. If you missed it, Arise was critical of umpiring in the UT this winter or early spring training.
Mhm.
It wasn't overly critical, but he was critical in nature of umpiring. And he has said that to start the regular season and also in the Cactus League, he's gotten the cold shoulder from plate umpires when he goes up and acknowledges them. They don't acknowledge him back. That's Bush League.
That's so soft.
That is going so far outside the realm of what you should be doing. Do your job. If a player's got a critical comment of you, you still have to do your job. Guess what? I might criticize Luis Ariz. He's still expected to do his job. Someone on the other team might be critical of the Padres, so on and so forth. You got to do your job. To be Luis Ariz, who is a 3-time hit king, he has the right to say what he wants to say about home plate umpiring. He probably knows the strike zone better than most umpires, right? So I just found that to be completely out of turn as well. We can get more into it coming up. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, umpires, referees, they inject themselves into sports way more than they need to, and they make it about themselves. Not all the time. It's not like all the time these refs are out there trying to make it about themselves, but when they do make it about themselves, man, do they really make it about themselves and just look like completely foolish in doing so.
You're not going to acknowledge a player because they criticized umpiring in general.
Bro, it's Luis Ariz.
How long are you going to hold that grudge? All right, on the other side, let's get to SDFC. If you missed Dax McCarty, MLS season pass, he was with us yesterday late in the afternoon. You'll hear our conversation on the other side. He has glowing things to say about San Diego FC. Plus, once the Padres go final, you'll hear from Mike Schilt, and Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. It's John and Jim.
Look, there's feelings, and then there's the facts.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres and A's, third game of their three-game series. Happening right now in Sacramento. Padres lead the A's 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the eighth inning there. Luka makes his return to Dallas tonight as the Lakers take on the Mavs. And at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760, we have SDFC Midweek Live with D. Smith hosting alongside Adrian Garcia Marquez. And this update has been brought to you by Anderson Heating and Air.
All right, once Padres A's goes final, we'll hear from Mike Schilt. San Diego trying to win a series in Sacramento against the A's. Thursday off. Friday against the Rockies. Merrill on the IL. We'll see if we get an update on either Tatis or Cronenworth postgame from Mike Schilt. You'll hear Mike Schilt postgame. Kevin Acey will join us as well. Coming up at 5 p.m. But if you missed it yesterday, Dax McCarty, who spent a career in Major League Soccer, now works with the MLS Season Pass. He's been very complimentary of SDFC. He said Sunday he believes they could be the best team in the West. Here's our conversation.
I have been so impressed, even more so than I was earlier this season, about what Mikey Veras and this team are doing at the moment. Look at three of their last four games. Let's go down memory lane really quick. 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. The loss in Austin could have very easily been a draw. Considering the chances that they had at the end of the game there. And look, I was a little skeptical about Mikey Veras and what he did in that game in terms of they played such a high back line that Austin, they got in behind their back line numerous times and probably could have scored 2 or 3 goals. But the adjustments that Mikey Veras has made with this team and how they press and how he protects that back line, the last 2 results, they've beaten 2 of, in my opinion, the 5 best teams in Major League Soccer and the 2 favorites in the West in the Seattle Sounders and LAFC. And they played the Columbus Crew, who I consider one of the best teams in the league with the best coach in the league, to a draw, and that should have been a win. So I just have been so impressed with the San Diego team. They've done a lot of this without Chucky Lozano, their designated player. Their back line has been so impressive. If you consider that they've only conceded 6 goals in 7 games. They're averaging less than 1 goal a game conceded. I don't know how many ways I can compliment what Mikey Veras and this team have been able to do. And they've played a tough schedule up to this point. So I'm really impressed. I'm still curious to see what they'll do in the summer to add a designated player that they have room for. I'm just very, very complimentary of everything they're doing right now.
And, 14 points now, their goal differentials, one of the best in the league. You just mentioned how impressed you are with them, but are they a team to be like really feared in the Western Conference, in your opinion? Yes,
they are. And the reason why I say that is because it's very easy for coaches. You guys know as well as I do. You guys cover all sports. Coach speak is rampant throughout all professional sports, right? We plan to do this. We plan to do that. And that's exactly what this team has done. They've talked about how they're going to play and how they want to possess the ball and they want to play through the lines and they want to use their midfield and they want to play intricate passing sequences that lead to chances on goal. And that's all they've done. They've just continued to get better and better and better. And you hit on something that I use as a metric for what I consider to be very good teams, and that's goal difference. The more goals you score and the less you concede, the better your goal difference is going to be. And this team is actually first in the league, tied for first in the league in goal difference right now with I believe Vancouver, the other best team in the West. So that's a metric I use to base my judgment on what teams are for real and what teams aren't. And San Diego is for real. They have, like I said, tied for first with the best goal difference in the league. And a big question mark I had was, how are they going to score goals? They were playing really beautiful soccer, but they weren't scoring goals. They've really picked it up the last couple of weeks in terms of goal scoring output. They've scored, I believe, 3 goals against the Seattle Sounders, which is one of the best backlines in the league. And listen, guys, they're getting contributions from players who are, quite frankly, having a renaissance. My old teammate from Nashville FC, Anibal Godoy, he's been probably one of their most impressive players. And I'm sure that the San Diego fans are thrilled with what he's bringing. Great to see him get on the score sheet against Seattle. Just a really, really well put together team by Tyler Heaps and Mikey Veras.
Dax McCarty with us right now. MLS season pass, Apple TV against San Diego FC. 7 matches in, has 14 points. So all the positives. Is there a next step here in their evolution, like to maintain this? Is one thing, I think, to do it for maybe 7 matches. It's another thing to do it for 34. What's it going to take to continue this or take a next step in their development and process?
Yeah, there's absolutely a next step. I don't think that this team has scratched the surface yet of their potential. And listen, I want to you guys, I'll age myself a little bit here, but I'll tell you guys a fun little fact about me. Your striker, Ani Valakari, who's on loan right now, he's already got 3 assists and 2 goals on the season, and he's filled in admirably for Marcus Ingvartsen when he's through his injury. I actually played with Ani Valakari's dad, Timo Valakari, at FC Dallas. He was my first captain I ever had. So the weaves, the webs we weave are really interesting. And the fact that he is now playing in Major League Soccer and I played with his dad, it always makes me root for guys like that. So he's been tremendous in terms of filling in for Ingvartsen. I think that this team gets to the next level if they add a designated player, number 9. We've heard about the rumors about Kevin De Bruyne. Tyler Heaps has already come out and said, we're not signing De Bruyne. His wage request is too high. I think that this team can get to the next level if they add a stone cold killer in front of goal. If they go out and add a young, hungry, proven designated player, number 9, I think the sky is the limit for this team, especially with how Mikey Veras has them playing.
And also, too, with the players they have, and you talked about Chucky, in his great game on this past Saturday. I mean, that's who they want to see. Like, that's the guy that they expect to see. And if he's anywhere close to that for the rest of the season, like, again, that's something that they were hoping to have with Chucky Lozano.
He played fantastic against Seattle. It was great to see him fit and causing havoc for that back line. The build of this team was through the wingers, and that was very specific. That Tyler Heaps and Mikey Veras wanted to go and add dangerous wingers who are goal threats. You have Chucky Lozano, who is inverted, so he's right-footed, playing on the left side, which means he can come inside on his right foot to take shots and find passes. And you have Anders Dreyer, who's left-footed, playing on the right side. He can come inside on that wicked left foot and create chances. So look, you have 2 elite wingers in MLS. They're going to create chances. This is where I think the valuable number 9 comes in, because if you can put someone up there that can finish chances at a high rate, it's just going to make these players more dangerous. You guys saw what Chucky is capable of against Seattle. He's going to have to be able to stay healthy all season. Listen, I'm not saying anything. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I think that's obvious for everyone who watches San Diego. Their wingers are their most important players, but don't discount that midfield. I've been so impressed with Luca De La Torre. I already mentioned Anibal Godoy, and Yeppe Sperskov. He's been, for me, one of the top 3 defensive midfielders in MLS. If you look at his touches, if you look at his composure in midfield, I'm biased, guys. I was a defensive midfielder myself. So if I see a defensive midfielder I like, I always want to make sure I give him praise. Sperskov got on the score sheet last game. It's obviously not his main role. But this team is just firing on all cylinders. You mentioned Chucky Lozano. He stays healthy. This team has a chance to finish first in the West.
Wow. Dax McCarty, MLS season pass. You would know a thing or two, spending as much time as you did in Major League Soccer. What do you make of this home field advantage? They're unbeaten at Snapdragon. It started with a couple of ties, but now they've scored 3 first-half goals in back-to-back matches at home. They're playing in front of huge crowds, right? 30,000, 35,000, the largest soccer-specific outdoor stadium in the country. How valuable is that going to be moving forward for San Diego?
If you're good at home, you always give yourself a chance to be the best team in MLS. LA Galaxy last year won MLS Cup. They were unbeaten at home. If San Diego can continue this form, they will be at the top of the West. They will be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. The problem is you're going to run into, guys, is when you have to deal with injuries and you have to deal with fixture congestion, which it will happen in the summer. I don't know off the top of my head right now if they're participating in the U.S. Open Cup or in Leagues Cup, but Mikey Vera he's going to have decisions to make when it comes to rotating his squad. Every team in MLS has to deal with fixture congestion and injuries. That's going to be the Achilles heel of this team. But you mentioned the home atmosphere. I got chills when we are watching these games on MLS 360 and they show shots of the crowd. It's unbelievable. It reminds me of my first year in Nashville, where we just had so much support. There's a groundswell of support for the new team in MLS. Now, we weren't as good as San Diego are. Anytime you have a good team that plays in front of a passionate home crowd, it's only going to make that atmosphere more intimidating. So the way I would describe it as an opponent, intimidating, suffocating. That's why it's been so difficult for teams to go in there these last couple of weeks and try to stop the bleeding, right? You concede one goal, the crowd gets more into it. You concede another goal, it just feels like it's never going to stop. San Diego has to ride this wave of momentum. I'm not going to sit here and say that every home game is going to go like that, because you guys know as well as I do that that's not how sports work. They're going to run into their hardships at home. But it just, with the way that they're playing right now, I just see a team that's one of the most confident teams in MLS. It's been really fun to watch.
And for an expansion team, and you've been, as you mentioned, you've been a part of expansion team in Nashville, just like how difficult is it to get this thing off the ground? I mean, these guys that start the season were only together for like 5 weeks, and then they go up to Galaxy and they put together that match, and you're like, whoa. And just from experience, Dax, how difficult is it for an expansion team to get all on the same page as quickly as STFC has?
It's incredibly difficult. It's hard to overstate how difficult it is. And like you said, I know from experience, the way that my Nashville team was built was significantly different than the way that this San Diego team is built. My head coach, Gary Smith, who's a wonderful coach, he's a wonderful guy. He was a defensive coach. He wanted to build with a foundation of we're not going to concede a lot of goals, and we were successful at that. But it bored fans to tears. I have to tell you guys, it was boring. It wasn't a very fun way to play soccer as a player. Mikey Veras and this technical staff, they built this team to play out of the back, to say, okay, this is why they're so successful, is because Mikey Veras, he has a philosophy, and he doesn't go away from that philosophy, whether he's at home or on the road. I remember my Nashville teams, we would play really aggressive at home, and then when we would go on the road, we would play very defensive. And there's just not a lot of fun in that. I look at this team in San Diego, they're having fun. Anibal Godoy is like the perfect encapsulation of what this team is all about. He always wants to be on the ball. He wants to be playing out of the back. He wants to take risks. This team takes risks. And you know what? They do it with a purpose. It's one thing to just take risks and then just be reckless. I look at the San Diego team, and they take risks, and they take risk with a purpose. Every player knows where to be in certain movements, and it's not just with the ball, it's without the ball too. They press high up the field. They keep the field very narrow and very compact. It's extremely hard for opposing teams to play through their midfield. And so that's why I just think that this team has such a high ceiling, because of the way they're coached, because of the confidence that they play with. I'm risking, a little bit of pie in my face here by saying that they're going to continue this form throughout the season, but I don't see any reason why I shouldn't say that. They've shown nothing but good stuff so far. You look at the one anomaly the one blemish on their record, it's that Austin game. As long as they don't take the risk of playing a very high back line and letting teams with pace get in behind that back line, I don't see why they shouldn't continue to win games. That's the one thing that I would talk to the San Diego fans about, in terms of, hey, when you guys go on the road and when you play against a team that has some very fast attackers and some very fast wingers, you better be careful, because you play a high back line, teams can burn you in transition. So that's the one thing I'd watch out for from your guys' perspective that could potentially come back to hurt this team. But knowing Mikey Veras and what he's done through 7 games, I'd expect him to correct it and make it right.
All right. I heard MLS Cup champs. Thank you, Dax.
Thanks, Dax.
Dax McCarty, Spent a long time in Major League Soccer. We appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego. I'm sure we'll do it again at some point this spring and summer, and thanks for hopping on.
Always appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
All right. Good conversation. Again, if you missed that yesterday with Dax McCarty, MLS Season Pass. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt coming up. Padres trying to hold on to a 2-1 lead in the ninth inning in Sacramento against the A's. So we'll react to that. We'll hear from Mike Schilt, Kevin Acee on the show at 5 p.m. The latest on the injury front related to the Padres. Stay with us on John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app. And when you do it, put San Diego Sports 760 in your top preset on the app. You can add John and Jim as well. With San Diego Sports 760, you can listen live on the app, and then with John and Jim in your presets, you can listen back any hour, any interview of the show. So we're watching the Padres and A's in a minor league ballpark in Sacramento, where the Padres lead 2-1. Gavin Sheets had the go-ahead sac fly.
Mm-hmm.
Their bullpen has done good work behind Randy Vasquez, who was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And with 3 defensive outs, the Padres would win this series, get back home 10-3 overall with the best record in baseball.
Yeah, and again, we'll break that game down once it goes final. Hear from Schilt. Hopefully, we get an update on the health of Tatis and Cronenworth. But in these situations, when you're down a couple of your guys and you're kind of hurting as a team, winning any way you can, that's all you care about. I don't care how they win. I don't care if it's a 2-1 game, 1-0 game, 10-9 game. Like, just stack up wins and try to stack up as many wins as you possibly can with all the injuries to some really key pieces on your team.
Yeah, remember that there was someone either on our YouTube chat for John and Jim or the wrap-up shows like, oh, the Padres haven't played anyone, and some of their wins were only by like a run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is called baseball.
Professional sports.
They're not going to throw in some like Ken Pom metric that says, yeah, the Padres are 162, but they've been weighed down by their schedule, and they only beat some teams by 1. Sir, is this your first time watching baseball?
Yes.
A, their schedule's been formidable, right?
Oh,
I mean, they played good opponents until Sacramento.
Correct.
And then B, is there another team that's 9-3 right now? Let me check.
No.
And they're trying to get to 10-3.
Dodgers are trailing the Nationals in the 6th inning, 5-4. Giants are trailing the Reds. You know what? I'm not even going to do it.
Do it.
No,
Give me
I'm not doing it.
Major League
I caught
score.
myself. I'm not doing it.
No, it's April 9th. We're only 11 days away from Easter.
I'm not
it's
doing it.
Easter. And you know what everyone says about Easter? Nobody cares about the standings then.
It would be significant if they win this game today against the A's. They're the first team in baseball to 10 wins.
History. This year, they're the first team in baseball history this year to get to 10 wins.
No other team has gotten to 10 wins before, ever.
Ever in 2025. No, you want to start fast because we've been critical before when they don't.
For sure.
There's no assurance starting fast means a good year. There's no assurance starting slow means a bad year. They were 50-50 last year. They did start slow, and they won 93 games. We also lived through 2021 and 2023 when they had good records early and didn't have good records for the year.
Yeah,
I'd still much prefer getting off to the good start.
How many recent World Series winners, if you looked at their record on July 20th, they're like 500 or just a couple games over?
Washington Nationals would come to mind in 2019. They were well under 500 in June.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went over 500 by the end of June.
What about the Braves?
In 2021?
They made a bunch of trades at the deadline.
I remember that. And they played great afterwards. Yeah. They might have been a 500 team for a few months that year.
Yeah, like you said.
Yep.
There is no straight line through a season ever. Team could be 25 games over on July 15th and still miss the postseason.
100%.
And they could be playing amazing baseball. And then stuff like last night happens where this guy goes down and this guy goes down, and then you're gutted. And now you're in survival mode and you got still 70 games remaining in your season.
I'm watching a game last night, which we haven't even touched on, where Dylan Cease was completely ineffective, hopefully a one-off. And because of circumstance, they put a career infielder in the outfield, right? Jose Iglesias. And the ball was hit to him like 12 times.
I called that
in
yesterday.
The first 2 innings, to the point where he made a couple of good plays, but then he made it. I mean, what were they even expecting? What was anyone expecting? Yesterday, the big story yesterday was not Dylan Cease or the outcome. The big story yesterday was Merrill on the IL, Tatis and Cronenworth. Because they can overcome losing games. They're going to win the series potentially. That's the goal here. It's the injuries that are of concern. Not one star for Dylan Cease I can live with. One bad game I can live with. What you can't live with, this guy's not playing and being on the IL.
Yeah, Dylan Cease, he looked awful last night.
He really did.
And maybe one of his worst starts in a Padres uniform.
I think of his career.
Yeah.
9 runs was a career high.
All right, so the worst start of his career, worst start in a Padres uniform. He was throwing the ball to like the backstop. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
He was hanging everything. He just looked really bad. But as long as he gets out of that game feeling fine,
and
his velocity is still up, then all right, just go in the lab with Niebla. You'll figure something out mechanic-wise, and you'll be fine. Injuries are when guys aren't playing well or pitching well, you're like, are you okay? As long as you're okay, you're fine. I'm okay with that. But yeah, you're right. Last night, you just think to yourself, they could have won that game 10-0, like you said. And if they still lost Tatis and Cronenworth in that game, I still would be concerned.
Yeah, that would be the lead that, yeah, Tatis and Cronenworth are going to be critically important. So is Jackson Merrill. And honestly, it's not the last injury they're going to deal with this year. And
No.
they're going to have to overcome these. And to this point in this super young season, they've overcome things and they've gotten off to a good start.
Yeah, because the injuries so far that they have had to deal with is Darvish, Jackson Merrill now. We'll see about Tatis and we'll see about Cronenworth. But
those are significant.
Those are very significant.
Again, have they really had to deal with not having those players? A little bit. Darvish hasn't made a couple of starts and Merrill hasn't appeared a couple of games. But when you really feel the impact of an injury is when it continues to weigh on you. You know,
right.
when you don't have Darvish for a half season, that's different than 2 turns through a rotation. If you don't have Merrill for a month, that's different than a series.
Same thing.
Not that anyone thinks Merrill's going to miss a month.
No, but anything can happen.
Absolutely.
And what if he, in his rehab, he tweaks it again,
Exactly.
So same thing with Tatis. What if wakes up on Friday, shoulder's not feeling well, and then 2 weeks from now, he's like, yeah, it's not progressing how I want it to.
No, you're right.
These things, they can change very quickly. And if they can pull out the win today, get to 10-3, the best thing is to stack up as many wins as you can early so you can withstand potentially the loss of guys for, a couple weeks or a month or so. It's not ideal, but again, you get out to a fast start where you're like 22-8 or 10. That's pretty good if you're dealing with injuries too.
And they've been pretty good at home, if you remember, this year. And they're coming back home to take on the Rockies this weekend. So once this game goes final, which should be at some point in the next handful of minutes, we'll hear from Mike Schilt. We will react, hopefully an update on Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth. Plus, Kevin Acee joins us from Sacramento at 5 p.m. We'll kick off hour 2 of John and Jim next. Hey, it's Flay.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It has just gone final in Sacramento. Padres take the series over the A's 2-1. They move to 10-3 on the year. It's the best record in baseball. We have an off day tomorrow before returning home for a 6-game homestand, starting with the Rockies on Friday night. And tonight at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760, tune in to SDFC Midweek Live, hosted by Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind at Anderson Plumbing. They're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today. Nobody will what is this? Nobody. Whatever. Nobody takes care of clients like they do. What is the word? Whilst.
Getting you all set for that drive home.
I also made the point yesterday, I think you agree with it, which is I don't know if Major League broadcasters by and large are in the business of criticizing other Major League teams. Not that they won't do it, but there's only 30 Major League teams. I don't know if Don and Mudd are going to go on this soliloquy criticizing A's ownership. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know if it's necessarily I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to go out of turn, so to speak, like that, like you and I will do every single day. We don't work for Major League Baseball, you know?
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. But I also do think there's this kind of like unwritten agreement.
You can kill the A's.
That, hey, if you guys want to rip the A's, we're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim. We will hear from Mike Schilt momentarily. The Padres, as Jim just told you, winners in Sacramento. They win the series. They improve to 10-3. They hold the A's today to 2 hits. They out-hit Oakland, or whatever they are, 12-2. Randy Vasquez was terrific. So was the bullpen. And yes, the Padres are dealing with injuries, and we hope to get updates on those coming up at some point in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Plus, Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. But a 3-3 trip is a successful one with a series win in Sacramento. Now we'll wait on these injuries as the Padres come home and play Friday against the Rockies.
Really good games from Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Gavin Sheets getting the game-winning sac fly there. Oscar Gonzalez getting a couple hits in the game. I thought Randy Vasquez pitched really, really well. 5 innings. The walks are still going to be something he has to work on. 3 walks on the day, but only 1 hit, 1 earned run allowed, and the bullpen came in and just shut the door. Morejon, Estrada, Adam, and Suarez. 4 shutout innings, only allowing 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks for the bullpen combined. Really good game after last night's really just, kind of, clunker of a game.
Insult to injury.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about today. You might say, okay, well, they beat the A's 2-1. They did it without their team. I mean, they didn't have Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., or Jay Cronenworth, and they weren't pitching one of their, the Dylan Ceases, Michael Kings, Nick Pavetas, the guys you're expecting and counting on throughout the course of the year. Now, Randy Vasquez has given them opportunities in his first 3 starts, and I know the A's aren't the Dodgers, but winning road series matters, and winning half your games on the road adds up to a playoff formula, and they went 3-3 on this trip through Chicago and Sacramento. And considering everything, we said it when they were 7-0. We said we'd hope for more than 3-3, but you take it, because if you get home 10-3, can you bank those 7 wins? You have Colorado coming here. You're capable of winning that series, even with injuries. And then the Cubs will be here, maybe some payback after losing 2 of 3. So I think it's all worked out very well. Other than some of this health stuff that is a real concern, on field, what we've seen, you can't ask for a better start than this. This is as good as the Padres have ever done at 10-3.
You bank these wins and you just move on. It's just simple as that. And after Saturday's game in Chicago, a 3-3 road trip, you're signing up for that. And that's what they did. They took care of business. I keep wanting to say in Oakland, but
just say it.
In Oakland, they took care of business.
Coliseum.
Yeah, they took care of business in Oakland against the A's, winning the series. Would you have liked to see a sweep there? Yeah, you would have, against a team that, before yesterday hasn't won a game at home, and they're expected to be one of the worst teams in baseball. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, and I think a 3-3 road trip, the first road trip of the year with the injuries that you sustained in that road trip, take that right now. 10-3 going home. It makes the 7-0 homestand to start the year. That's what we're talking about is you bank those wins, and it helps you that the 3-3 road trip, you feel good about it because now you're 10-3 and you go home with the best record in baseball still.
Here's the thing. I would feel differently if one of the losses was like, man, they had the 6-3 lead in the 8th, and then Adam blew up and Suarez blew the save. It didn't happen. So the games that they've had late leads in, they've won. The 3 games they've lost this year, they weren't really in position to win yesterday. Yes, they jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but it's not like they coughed up the game. They allowed 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning. They never, got back in it. They lose 10-4. So it's like when they've had leads late, they've protected them. They've overcome some deficits this year. Their 3 losses are all losses that they didn't really have a business of winning in. So, yeah, I think you turn the page. The thing that we're going to harp on continually with Kevin Acee at 5 p.m., and when we hear from Mike Shilton, I don't know what update he'll have for us because they played last night, now today. So the health updates, they're going to be very ambiguous, would be my guess. But that's what we're all thinking about. Like, where's Jackson Merrill? He's on the IL. What's the latest with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth? We don't know. All we know is they didn't play today, and they left yesterday's game. And, of course, the other player you've been thinking about since the start of the season is Yu Darvish, which is neither here nor there right now. But 10-3 is great. I just wonder if they can overcome these injuries moving forward. I think the answer is yes, and hopefully they dodge bullets when it comes with Tatis and Cronenworth, and you just cross your fingers.
Now, look, would you have liked to, have gone better than 2-for-14 with runners in scoring position today? Yeah, you would have.
1 for 8 yesterday, 3 for 16 on Sunday, and a win.
It's not great.
I don't know what they've hit with men in scoring position this year. It can't be great.
I have not looked, but you're right. I don't think it's that good.
They've overcome that, though, apparently.
Yeah,
right.
They have. They I can't remember a time on this road. Well, let me take that back. I can't remember through the first 13 games where I'm pulling my hair out because they just, are leaving so many men on base. Because in most of those games, they've had leads in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would have liked to see this game be blown open a little bit more. 2-1 win. Okay, 2-1 win. Probably should have been a 5-1, 6-1 win.
Right.
But it wasn't. And you move on and you take it. And a win's a win. And you're not complaining about it at all. And you look up at the standings. They are what they are on April 9th. But I think it is significant that the first team in baseball, the 10 wins, is your San Diego Padres. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. I need to know what they've hit this year with men in scoring position, because remember in 2023, they were the worst hitting team ever.
They were awful
with men in scoring position. Then they bounced back and they were really good with men in scoring position a year ago. I'll find it. Here it is coming into today, Jim. Coming into today. Want to take a guess?
Coming into today.
Which again, what'd they do today? Did you say?
2 for 14.
So they didn't help their cause.
No. Like, do you want me to give you the average?
I'd like the average in OPS.
I'll say 256 with like a 680 OPS.
Pretty good. 242 with a 681.
Ooh. And again, I didn't know that, but
yeah. And now that's going to go down with their 2 for 4. So they're hitting like 238 with like a 670 OPS, and they're 10-3.
Yeah.
That's only going to go up. That's only going to improve. Listen, they have the pieces that you need. This elite bullpen that you just touched on, the back of this bullpen is going to hold a lot of leads. Hopefully, they have so far. The rotation, I think, is more than good enough and can get strengthened with Yu Darvish. Their lineup when healthy is legitimate and capable, and they got Schulte, who has proven to be like a good luck charm since getting here or managing over the last 2 years.
I don't think it's luck. I think he's just a good manager.
Whatever. It's Schulte. Whatever it is, it's Mike Schilt. And I agree with you. I think he did a nice job with St. Louis. I think he's probably done a better job here. So you add all that up, and A.J. Preller and the work he's done behind the scenes the last couple of years, and you add it all up, and I don't know if they're going to finish the year with the best record in baseball. In fact, I'd be surprised if they did.
I would be surprised, yeah.
But
did not have that on my bingo card coming into the season.
But they might be better than we thought they were going to be to start the year, too. That's possible.
Oh, they already are.
Well, they are right now.
Yeah, I did not envision a 10-3 start.
No, but I'm thinking about where they're going to finish.
Right.
And I don't know.
I had 88 wins.
Yeah, I think we both said that.
I still think that, that's a pretty respectable number. Now, again, you rack up all these wins, those things change. Because then if you played like 3 or 4 games over 500 the rest of the way, then you're, I think, 88, 89 wins, right? Because if you look at their 7-0 start, 3-3 road trip, you're 10-3. Yeah.
So what are you saying?
If they finished if they played 500 baseball the rest of the year, that's 85 wins. And then if they played a couple games over that, it's like 87, 88 wins right there.
I don't typically trust your math, but it may be right because 85 wins is how many losses? 77.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go one game over 500 the rest of the way, this is what Kevin said when they were 7-0.
Yeah.
If they go one game over, they have 85 wins.
I
But
said
then again, it took 90 last year to reach the postseason.
Right. And I'm like, if they go a couple games over, then you got 88 right
87,
there.
88. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And I still think this team
Can do better than that.
And they have stretches in them that are, I think, going to, be not 7-game win streaks, but I think they can put together some 5-game win streaks here and there. When they get hot, they're a streaky team. You just hope that they don't have those 5-6 game losing streaks, even though they had them last year and they still won 93 games. So again, if they do have a 5 or 6 game losing streaks this season, well, you just go back to last year and they overcame that.
Well, here was the concern. And here I kind of buried this because, again, I think when you have King, Cease, Pivetta, and the hope of getting Darvish back, you feel good about your rotation. But here was the concern. The last turn through the rotation, they had an 11.21 ERA.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you might say, well, it's Cease, right? He had this blow-up outing. That's going to inflate everything. But in 5 starts, those starters combined to go 17 2/3 innings. That's less than 4 innings per outing, their last turn through the rotation. So that's not sustainable for a good team. But I prefer to say that's an aberration. I prefer to bet on King, Cease, Pivetta. I really think Vasquez has been good for this team. 5 more innings of one-run baseball. We'll see about Kyle Hart. I'm certainly not sold at this point on Kyle Hart, but I think the rotation should be good enough. It should be one of the better rotations in baseball, truthfully, once they get Yu Darvish back. So hopefully that's the aberration because, their last turn through, they had an 11.21 ERA.
Randy Vasquez this year, other than the walks, has been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
15 2/3 innings pitched so far this year. He's got a 1.72 ERA. And if he just cuts down on those walks, man, pitching 6 today, or what did he pitch? Yeah, he pitched 5 innings today. Sorry. 5 innings today. That's all you really are asking from him. You're not asking him to go 7, 8, 9, hey, can you get us into the 8th inning? You're like, what? You're asking Randy Vasquez with this really good bullpen, can you give us 5 quality innings and hopefully we have the lead by the time we take you out so we can go to our really good bullpen.
Yeah, it's such a good point. He'll never be asked all year by and large, even when he's built up. Yeah, he'll work into 6th innings. Yeah, he'll probably work into a 7th inning, but you don't need to reach for an extra out when you have a bullpen as good as the Padres bullpen is capable of being.
I want you to guess how many pitches he threw today.
In 5 innings?
Yeah.
I will say, carry the one, 74.
61.
And they went to their bullpen there.
Yeah. So again, that just proves they're 100% content with 5 and dive. To just give us 5 solid. Hopefully we have a lead and we'll go to our bullpen. We are not going to push it. And they haven't early on in the season because of his command issues. I mean, he only threw 36 strikes today and 61 pitches, walking 3. Once again, it's like his whip is good because he's not giving him any hits, but he also has I think, how many walks do you have total this year?
I mean, it's 10 plus.
Yeah, he's got 12 total walks this season in 15 2/3 innings.
But if he Snells his way through the season,
exactly.
That's
what Snell did, and that's what Snell's whole career is he's going to walk the world, but never give up any hits.
Let's hear from Mike Schilt on the other side. Padres victorious in Sacramento, but what's the latest on Merrill and Tatis and Cronenworth? By the way, if you haven't watched John and Jim on YouTube, now is the time. Jim's got some fancy new graphics up there right now on YouTube. I don't even know what you're doing, but you're posting things on YouTube, which are cool. So check us out on YouTube. Just open up the YouTube app and search for John and Jim 760. We're on YouTube, the iHeartRadio app, and of course, San Diego Sports 760. We'll hear from Mike Schilt, plus Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. as the Padres beat the A's 2-1. This is John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, we just heard Mike Schild speak live with the media. We'll do our best to bring you a portion of that at some point moving forward. We're having some, I know, surprise. We had some technical issues
Shocker.
here. I know it's hard to believe that could exist. Mike Schild commenting on both Jake Cronenworth and Fernando Tatis Jr. is optimistic. So that doesn't mean that they're avoiding an IL stint. They were optimistic on Jackson Merrill. Padres, by the way, over the A's today, 2-1 in Sacramento. They're 10-3 on the year. But we just heard it from Schild in the manager's office where he said Tatis in a pinch probably would have been available to pinch hit in this game, no pun intended. And he said Cronenworth is still working out this cramping, whatever that even means. He got hit by a pitch on Sunday, but they're optimistic that he would be available to him on Friday. That's what Mike Schild just said. So now we just wait another 48 hours until they play against the Rockies and see if they're in the lineup.
Again, Mike Schild said the same thing on Monday about Jackson Merrill. Precautionary, should be fine to go tomorrow or the next day. Boom, IL. So I take everything they say regarding injuries with the thinnest grain of salt ever. Like, I just don't trust them. I just don't. I have trust issues with the Padres when it comes to injuries and them talking about it. When we talk to Kevin at 5, if Kevin says the same things, okay, maybe I will lean towards more of believing Mike Schild and thinking that Tatis and Cronenworth could return Friday. But again, it's literally 2 days from now and things can change. I mean, what if on the, Tatis sleeps wrong? What if on the plane ride, Cronenworth's like, yeah, I don't feel great either.
Sure.
They wake up Friday morning, like, this got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Schild said in his postgame, they could have pinch hit Tatis today, but chose not to. Okay.
Well, I guess if there was a true circumstance, I don't know if that circumstance presented itself today because they took a lead. It's not like they had to have them.
No.
It wasn't the 13th inning of a game. You were out of position players. So, again, the updates are that Tatis, according to Mike Schild, could have played today in an emergency, and that Jake Cronenworth is feeling better and tracking towards a return this weekend as well. So I'll take him at his word for now. You're right. We've looked dumb before doing that at times,
yes.
Taking managers and front office personnel at their words. I don't know what other option we have. And in the short term, the biggest injury that they're dealing with is Jackson Merrill. He's the one that's actually on the IL right now. He won't play over the next week, the next 6 games at Petco Park. And then with Tatis and Cronenworth, listen, Jim, if Tatis misses a game and if Cronenworth misses a game, they're pretty fortunate. If that's the extent of it, they didn't play on a Wednesday in Sacramento and exited a game on Tuesday and are back in there Friday. That's a really good outcome if that's the case.
And you pick up a win in the middle of that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then, everything's fine.
Everything's great. Everything's awesome. Take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I hope that, because what I saw from Tatis, like you did from these first 2 weeks, he looked great.
Amazing.
Right, he's run well. He's hit the ball hard.
So
had that majestic home run the other night in Sacramento. So he's looked spectacular. So we know how important he is. We know what he means when he's healthy. The Merrill thing, Merrill had looked great. So you hated to lose him, and you hope he looks the exact same when he comes back. That's all. I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, Merrill's been great. Tatis has been great.
Cronenworth has been sneaky good.
I agree with you. I mean, Bogaerts has been sneaky good now with 3 hits today.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're asking for of them. You're not asking them to be these superstar players and guys that, put up 30 home runs. Would you love that from Xander because he's getting paid that type of money? Like, right. Yeah, you would. But for me, more importantly, what I'm looking from Xander is getting on base. Can he hit around 300? And can he have an OPS in like the mid 700s? Then I think, you can justify him getting paid. And can he play every day? So that's why I look from Xander. Jake, last year, comparable to his previous season, 2023, was a bounce back year, but he also just couldn't hit lefties if his life depended on it. But he still, if you look at the back of his baseball card, put up some decent numbers. You would have liked to see better numbers. especially, with the fact he couldn't hit lefties, but he didn't hit lefties and he still had a decent year. I think Jake, you look at his numbers right now, small sample size, but he's got a 900 OPS for the first,
couple weeks.
12 games of his season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. A couple of home runs, even one off a lefty. So, yeah, it's just a bummer that, Tatis and Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill, guys that are all playing really well, kind of just halt to their season right now until they get better. And we don't really know when they're going to return.
I mean, all of this yesterday. We didn't know Merrill was going to go on the IL. He went on yesterday. Tatis, we didn't know he'd leave the game. He did yesterday. Cronenworth, we didn't know he'd leave the game. He did yesterday. So it's amazing how quickly things can change. But despite all of that, maybe everything will be okay with Tatis and Cronenworth. That's all I'll say. You cross your fingers there. Padres win today. They are 10-3 overall. Much more reaction as the Padres beat the A's and win a series in Sacramento. Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. Great giveaway today on the show as well. We'll tell you about in the 4 o'clock hour. This is John and Jim.
We're down.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. We'll start with the Padres. They beat the A's today 2-1, taking the series. They are now 10-3 on the year, first team in baseball with 10 wins on the season. Luka makes his return to Dallas tonight as the Lakers take on the Mavericks. And tonight at 6 p.m., listen to SDFC Midweek Live, hosted by Darren Smith alongside Adrian Garcia Marquez. 6 to 7 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. Anderson Plumbing. They're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today. Nobody does their clients like they do.
All right, another series win for the Padres. And again, if you missed the updates from Mike Schild a moment ago on both Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth, they were encouraging from Schild. Now, we'll see if that plays out Friday or not. They don't have the luxury with two players, quote-unquote, ailing, to not play them and not make a move, right? You don't usually play two down. I mean, playing one down is even hard to do. You do it for someone like Manny Machado or for Fernando Tatis Jr. if you think you get him back in 2 or 3 days. These are special players. But to be without two players for multiple games, I can't recall a situation like that playing out recently, specifically with the Padres. So they're hopeful to get them back. We know what they mean. This Rockies series coming back. I mean, they're 7-0 at home. They have the Rockies at home for 3. Like, it's already been awesome at Petco Park. You can imagine, like, they can really ramp this thing up. You have a good weekend against the Rockies, and, you know, you're the best team in baseball in your home ballpark, as they typically should be. They're playing in front of these great crowds. They've had this great start at home. Hopefully that continues this weekend.
And when you start out the year 7 consecutive wins,
That helps.
all you're asking for is just win series. Just win series. Take 2 out of 3. Take 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. And you look up, and that's over a good amount of time. That's going to pile up, and you're going to be sitting pretty good. So, yeah, the Rockies, one of the worst teams in baseball. Yes. Are they going to finish in last place in the NL West? Yes. Have they been a annoyance to the Padres over the years?
Absolutely.
Yes. And would I take taking 2 out of 3 at Petco this weekend? Yes. I would. I again love if they would sweep the Rockies this weekend, and we'll get into more of that, later in the week, closer to Friday. But right now, it's just win series, and if you do that, thanks to the 7-0 start to your season, you could really be, in a good position in, a month from now.
I'm declaring it a gotta have series at home against the Rockies when I consider this. The Rockies are 2-8. They're 1-5 on the road. They went 24-57 on the road last year. So this is the type of series, to your point, you're going to have to win. I go back to 2023. They weren't good against bad teams in 2023. They were much better against bad teams in 2024. By the way, that's the difference between getting into the postseason or not. How you play against bad teams. It matters just as much as how you play against good teams.
For sure.
What they just did this week on the road against Sacramento is they won a series. That's all you can ask of a team. So, yeah, the Sacramentos, the Miamis, the Colorados, these are the gotta-have series. The series against the Dodgers, yeah, it sounds great, right? You're going to be disappointed if they lose a 3-game series, 2-1. But truthfully, it's just as important to pile up the series wins against teams like Sacramento and Colorado as it is, against LA.
Yeah. How many times you see teams just like the Dodgers over the years just dominate the Rockies?
Yeah.
And you look at the season series between those teams, they say they play, 12 games against each other. And the Dodgers are 9-3.
Yep.
Like that goes a long way in your season if you can beat up on the bottom feeders in baseball.
Right.
When you start losing, and we've seen the Padres do this, when you start losing to the awful teams, then it puts pressure on you to play good baseball against the better teams. And if you don't, then you don't have any wiggle room. So, I look at this start, and you could not be happier. Again, the only thing that's concerning is just the fact that, like we said, there were going to be problems this year, and that's happens in every season. And it happened to be two weeks in, and you're now wondering about the health of Tatis and Jake and Jackson Merrill. No big deal.
Yeah, just that. Exactly.
Just that.
I mean, it is amazing how this sport works, where yesterday you're playing an A's team. You jump out to a 3-0 lead. You're like, you know what? Okay, Merrill's on the IL, but everything is perfect. And then in one inning, Dylan Cease has 6 runs on maybe 6 or 7 hits.
Yeah.
Then a day later, that's Dylan Cease, who finished what for Cy Young a year ago? Top 5,
fourth.
Okay, so a guy who threw a no-hitter last year and has been among the more dominant pitchers in baseball at times during his career, and you lose that game 10-4. Okay. The next day, you allow 2 hits. Like, that's crazy. Like, they allowed 6 or 7 hits in that first inning yesterday and 6 runs. Today, the A's do absolutely nothing, and the Padres win the game 2-1. But I do like this, too. Schultz said this yesterday. We played it earlier at 2 p.m. Maybe we can play more of it coming up as well. But Schultz said yesterday, and some of it was Schultz. I was like, oh, it's so cliche. But
winners find solutions.
He said, winners find solutions, and he said, next man up. And he's not kidding when he says it. And when he turns to guys like Oscar Gonzalez and Jose Iglesias and Gavin Sheets, he really does believe that they can come through like these players that aren't available, like a Jackson Merrill. Like, clearly, Jackson Merrill can't be compared to a player like, I don't know, Brandon Lockridge.
Yeah.
Right? In the long run. Or Jose Iglesias, that they put in the outfield yesterday. But they really do believe that they have staying power, even if they deal with injuries. They proved it in 2024. We liked their depth and their bench. I was skeptical heading into 2025. It's still such a small sample size, but Oscar Gonzalez comes up. He has 2 hits here today, right? Or Jose Iglesias is asked to contribute. He does. Gavin Sheets has been a great contributor, had the game-winning sac fly here today. It's just amazing the productivity they get sometimes from their quote-unquote like non-stars under Mike Schilt the last 2 years.
You can't have a good season, in my opinion, without, as Shaq would always say, the others.
The others.
You need contributions from the others, because you know how many players have had seasons where they hit 320 and 40 home runs and 100 RBI and the team wins only 70 games? Look at Mike Trout's career. He does not have the support or the contributions from the others that you need on a baseball team. Guys can get numbers, but that, if you don't have the other contributing, probably not going to win 93 games. And that's what happened last year. Yes, they had stars perform with Profar and Merrill and Manny, right? But they also had contributions from a lot of the others, Donovan Solano's of the world, David Peralta's of the world, Kyle Higashioka's of the world. And without those guys, they're not sniffing 93 wins. So this year, if you're not going to get contributions from guys like Gavin Sheets or Jose Iglesias or Oscar Gonzalez or either one of the catchers, then it's going to make it that much more difficult and put pressure on guys like Bogey and Manny and Luis Ariz and Merrill and Tatis, to not only stay healthy, but to like really contribute. Because there's going to be games, and we've talked about this, there's going to be games when those guys go 0-for. What's going to happen if Manny and Merrill and Tatis in a game go 0-for? Are they just going to lay down and lose that game because the others are not doing anything? You need those guys to step up.
Today's the example. Oscar Gonzalez, RBI single, Gavin Sheets, sac fly. And you're without Merrill, Tatis, Cronenworth in the game. And again, did you score 10 runs? No, but nobody's asking you to do that. They're asking you to win. If it takes 10 to win, do it. If it takes 2 to win, do it, or get the pitching that they got here today.
Now, Bogey and Manny had good games today. So, the point I was making of like, if those top guys don't have good games, you need the others to step up. Well, those 2 guys did have good games today.
They did.
But still, the others, Gavin Sheets, perfect example. You got a runner at third, less than 2 outs.
Get him in.
He's already struck out in this game. He's on the verge of striking out again. Doesn't look great. Just by any means, get the run home. And he does it. And he did his job. And I'm sure that Schilt is marking that up. And that's like a little star next to Gavin Sheets' name.
It should be. I'm just thinking about them getting back home and how special of a home environment this is and how they could potentially even draw more fans than they've drawn these last couple of crazy years with the Juan Sotos and the playoff runs and NLCSs and last year against the Dodgers in the NLDS. I mean, they're drawing 3 million fans a year when they never previously were drawing 3 million fans. And they might top it again, Jim. They've just had this unbelievable ride with their fan base this decade. And Petco Park is truly one of the great environments in this sport. It's going to be like that again this weekend against the Rockies. We had said the last couple of years, why don't they play like they should at home in front of this great fan base? They get off the slow home starts the last couple of years. Not this year at 7-0, but I'm forecasting what it's going to be like this summer at Petco Park. If this team gets off to a good start, if they continue to play well at home, if they continue to draw like this, like they're going to sell out every single night, which is basically what they've done the last couple of years, and they're going to do it again here in 2025. And it's just exciting to think about what's ahead for this team in 2025.
A real home field advantage.
It's a true home field advantage.
It really is. It really is. And so this weekend at Petco against the Rockies.
Yep.
40,000, 42,000,
exactly.
41,000. Like, that's just what it's going to be. Now, who do they play next? Oh,
they play the Cubs. There'll be big crowds. There's another giveaway or two in there next week.
Cubs fans travel really well.
Yep.
But, can you keep that, your momentum that you had at home through this next homestand? And hell, say you have another good homestand, not the 7-0, but
4-2 or better.
4-2. Say they go 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
You're 14-5.
Right.
Like the 7-0 start. Once you start looking deeper into this in this month and in this year, if you just continue to play good baseball, not to that level, but 4-2s, 2 out of 3s, right? You can lose a series like they did against the Cubs, come back, win a series against the A's, have 3-3 road trips, have 4-2 road trips. You look up, you're like, wow, this record's really good.
Yeah, it's always something when a team is able to get to a spot where you're like, it's not that it's on cruise control, but it allows you to do some things with like your rotation in the second half of the year or rest guys, because it's like not every game is going to mean everything if you put yourself in playoff positioning at the halfway point. That's not what they did last year. They were 50-50 coming out of the All-Star break, and then they went on that second half tear. I could make an argument either way. I like playing well down the stretch, which is what they did a year ago, yet it still didn't pay off, even though I thought it was going to pay off in real time. And sometimes we've said over the years with the Dodgers, they get off to these starts where they're 25, 35 games over 500, and they're just cruising. They're in cruise control in September, and it hasn't necessarily been to their benefit.
But
last year they weren't, who played better down the stretch last year in the regular season? Obviously the Padres over the Dodgers.
Dodgers also played really well too.
They did. Listen, all things being equal, hopefully this is a year where they're able to play well for 162, as opposed to last year where, again, I think if there was any part of it that you didn't love, it was they got off to a slow start and they turned it on in the second half. Hopefully we see this for 162, but there's a lot of baseball in front of this team. We'll continue to react. Padres over the A's today, 2-1. They're 10-3 on the year. They're coming home Friday to take on the Rockies. The wrap is coming up at 4 p.m. We'll give away Sesame Place tickets in the 4 o'clock hour, and Kevin Acee will join us with more on the health of Tatis and Cronenworth and Merrill at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim.
San Diego Sports.
All right, the wrap coming up at 4 p.m. Kevin Acee coming up at 5 p.m. Your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Padres played this afternoon and won in Sacramento 2-1. They did it without Jackson Merrill, who's on the IL due to a hammy. We talked about that yesterday afternoon. They did it without both Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth as well. They missed today's game precautionary. Tatis, shoulder, Cronenworth, ribs / cramping. So 10-3 overall. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. All of my focus with the Padres is around their health because everything else is adding up, Jim. They're 5-0 in one-run games. Mark of a good team, right? What your record is in one-run games. They're 5-0 in one-run games. They have 4 come-from-behind wins. That's a huge number in less than 10% of their season. So all those indicators are really good. 4 come-from-behind wins, 5-0 in one-run games, 10-3 overall. All I'm worried about moving forward is their health. I think when healthy, this should be a very good team.
And we'll get Schultz down here in a minute talking about Jake Cronenworth and Fernando Tatis Jr. because I'm curious to I know we saw quotes, but I'm curious to hear him talk about those guys. But
yeah, like with actual words.
Like words.
From his mouth.
Dude, last night, all right, I just got to go back to last night real quick. Last night was so funny to me because obviously the main story after the game is the health of Tatis and Cronenworth, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care if they lost. And the first question was asked by Kevin, and as the first question should have been, is Schulte, do you have an update on Fernando Tatis Jr.?
No, it's just like thoughts on Tatis.
Oh yeah, what it was? What did he say? It was. I
mean, we have the sound.
Can you tell us about Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Yeah,
and he said, "Oh, he's a great player.
Yeah, he's a really good player."
And then he started going on, and then eventually got to his injury, and I'm like,
so Mike Schill,
dude, Mike, I don't care. What is his injury status, bro?
Yeah, like no, we're not. We know he's a good player. He's in his 7th season in the major leagues. We've seen him be.
That's great. You don't need to glaze him up. We know he's great.
I think he was messing with Kevin, but you're right. He always is optimistic about everyone.
I know.
It's like he has to be complimentary before starting any sentence about someone.
He is so funny.
He was hilarious with that last night.
I can't. I mean, it took me a while to really understand Mike Schill because at first last year, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, this team is losing 5 games in a row more often than not. And he's sitting there being like, Randy Vasquez pitched really well. Oh, by the way, we lost 9-2. Stephen Kolek, that double play in the 9th inning was awesome. I'm like,
yeah, before I go, I know we
Mike
lost by 10, but I need to talk about Stephen Kolek. Here's the thing.
But he's a good manager, so you live with it.
Well, it's all good when the team is good.
Right.
It's all good when the team is good. His record as a Padres manager is now 103-72. I mean, he's really cooking in 2 years. 103-72 is kind of rarefied air in Padres history over a 2-season stretch. So, yeah, you put up with all of it. And truthfully, I think it's become very likable for Padres fans, hearing from Mike Schill, his mannerisms, his Schulteisms, but it's easy to be likable when everything's good, and thankfully it has been with the Padres.
Well, that's the thing is, as I've said, you can do all this stuff. Schulte can be Schulte. He can go on a 5-minute rant about every single player on the team when the initial question was, "Hey, Mike, how you doing today?" As long as they win, like if they don't win. I'm sorry, the stuff doesn't become as lovable as it is right
100%.
now.
That's how it is.
Hey, man, as long as they win, Schulte can do whatever he wants. But he is such a character. He is so funny, and he's a good manager. And so all of that combined, I just love hearing Mike Schill talk because he can say literally anything, and the content is so good, dude. It's so good.
All right, so we're going to hear from him. Brent, let us know when you have it and how it starts. Again, this is Mike Schill postgame. Padres beat the A's 2-1. Where does he start this conversation? This is going to be just on the game in general and the win in Sacramento for the Padres.
Yeah, team effort, hard earned. I mean, it's a good win. Finished up a road trip. Quick turnaround. Going to play regardless of circumstances. Guys got after today, man. It was a really gritty win, and Vasquez did a great job setting the tone on the mound.
You talked about Bogarts the other day. I imagine you saw more of what you had been seeing from Bogarts today, just maybe the results coming
Yeah,
out.
you just see good at bats, and that's the thing that we talk about occasionally. I don't get too wrapped up in the numbers can be skewed either way. But I've seen a guy in Bogey since the first live batting practice in spring training look like a guy that's really locked in, has a good swing going. So, I've seen good swings, good at bats, taking his walks, and doing some damage in the zone, a couple doubles a day. Really impressive at bats by Bogey.
Do you have any updates on Tatis and Cronenworth?
I do. Nothing, Crony, we still feel like cramp, still getting some of that out of there, inflammation fluid a little bit out of there. We do expect him, but we'll hold our feet to the fire with him being in there on Friday. Toddy had a good night, good day today. Could have been available in a pinch. Clearly stayed away from him. So he's optimistic. We're optimistic as well.
For Friday, just to be clear.
We're optimistic for Friday, but again, we got some time between now and then to evaluate it. So we reserve our right, but they're both tracking in a good place.
Whoa, wait. So actually, okay. Well, I'm glad we heard that from Mike Schill because we didn't see that in some of the commentary from the reporters.
No.
That, things can change, which of course is true in life. We're all
what do you say?
We
reserve.
Can we play that the last
right?
just 5 or 10 seconds, Brent, of whatever he said there to finish that? Let's hear this.
We got some time between now and then to evaluate it, so we reserve our right, but they're both tracking in a good place.
We reserve our right means that I can change what I'm saying. We can change our tune here.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's good, but things can change.
As we've said, that everything was tracking for Jackson Merrill to play probably today, and that was on Monday, and then the next day, boom, he's on the IL. So
I thought
changed.
when he was out Monday, Merrill, he'd play Tuesday. That was my initial.
I thought he was going to play Wednesday because
it was the lefty starter, but I thought they'd find a way to get him in there.
And you got a day game. You got a day game Wednesday after a night game. I just thought.
What's the day game have to do with it?
I don't know. You don't want a guy coming off a hamstring play a night game followed by a day game. I don't know.
Play both. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's a fair point. I'm saying, I could have seen him back out there Tuesday because I thought they were just giving him a day on Monday to have him back out there Tuesday. I never expected him to go on the IL, but he is. So if Merrill is the 21-year-old who was able to finish off a game with that hamstring injury goes in the IL, then of course it's a possibility with Cronenworth and Tatis too. Because I thought Merrill Merrill coming out of that game, he's stealing a base and scoring from second on a base hit. The day before, I figured, it's a little ouchy.
Well, it's
a little more than a little ouchy.
It's a IL ouchie.
Exactly. So, okay, I still would say all things considered,
could be worse.
That's what I'm thinking. Let's be honest. The Tatis thing that happened yesterday where he, quote unquote, tweaked his shoulder. I mean, let's hope that that's minor. Like, we didn't see, his arm fall off.
No, but, being taken out of a game, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing. And the Cronenworth thing has an explanation. He was hit Sunday. Yeah. You're just going to have to deal with it, probably.
Yeah, are you taking guys out because they have little ouchies? Or are you taking guys out because not only have they have little ouchies, but those little ouchies are hurting them from performing?
True. And the Cronenworth thing was, he couldn't even get out of the batter's box. He swung the bat and fell over in a heap of pain. Yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Will either or both be in the starting lineup Friday night when the Padres entertain the Rockies? Will either or both be in the starting lineup on Friday?
My guess right now, I'll say one of them is in the lineup.
I agree with you.
I think one of them will be in the lineup. I just don't know who.
Let's fast forward and check.
Okay, let's freeze ourselves until
Friday afternoon.
Night. Yeah.
All right. Again, more on the Padres win in Sacramento today to win that series and get to 10-3. Plus, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Also, in the 4:00 hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. And at 5 p.m., Kevin AC with the very latest from Sacramento. With the Padres coming home, our Padres insider Kevin AC will hop on at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. This is John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres beat the A's today 2-1 behind 5 good innings from Randy Vasquez. He only allowed 1 earned run. Robert Suarez picked up the save. Padres moved to 10-3 on the year. First team in baseball to reach the 10-win mark. They have an off day tomorrow before they start a 3-game series back at Petco Park against the Rockies. And tonight, 6 p.m., it's SDFC Midweek Live with Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez from 6 to 7 p.m. Of course, listen to that right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. At Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PH today.
Get you all set for that drive home.
I also made the point yesterday, I think you agree with it, which is I don't know if Major League broadcasters by and large are in the business of criticizing other Major League teams. Not that they won't do it, but there's only 30 Major League teams. I don't know if Don and Mudd are going to go on this soliloquy criticizing A's ownership. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know if it's necessarily I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to go out of turn, so to speak, like that, like you and I will do every single day. We don't work for Major League Baseball, you know?
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. But I also do think there's this kind of like unwritten agreement.
You can kill the A's.
That, hey, if you guys want to rip the A's, we're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim, where we will give away Sesame Place tickets this hour. We'll do that coming up later in the 4 o'clock hour. Kevin Acee joins the show. That'll be at 5. The latest on Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jay Cronenworth in the 10-3 Padres. Kevin will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. A full reaction to the Padres win in Sacramento against the A's. Thoughts on Luka's return to Dallas coming up later on this afternoon as well. And right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who's going to win the Masters?
Good question. I gotta look at the odds here, but I mean,
Rory's daughter.
Rory's what?
Rory's daughter. Did you see her? She hit like a putt.
Oh,
like
yeah, I did
30
see that.
feet
They
today.
showed it, yeah.
Oh, these usually do the family day on there.
Yeah.
Par 3 course there. I'll go Rory, I guess. You know, Rory is, not won a major in a long time. And, he hasn't played well at Augusta of late. But, hey, turn it around. Win a green jacket, bro. It's time.
Yeah, green jackets are good. I will go with Scotty Scheffler, who hasn't been great so far this year, right?
No,
In
but
the lead up here, but it is Scotty Scheffler, right? Is he as good as any golfer in the world? Yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, he is.
So I'll go with Scotty Scheffler. I'll just go with like chalk, a little bit like the NCAA tournament. I'll bet on Scheffler.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. A lot of people are taking Rory, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas. I think the consensus is, if not now, when for Rory, right? He has been so close before in his career at Augusta, and it just has not worked out for him.
Wait, is he a master shy of the career Grand Slam?
Yes.
He's got the PGA, he's got the British.
I want to say yes.
He's got the U.S. What do you mean you want to say it?
Yeah. This is his 11th try at Augusta to win the green jacket. If he does win the Masters this upcoming weekend, he'll be just the 6th golfer ever to complete the career Grand Slam.
And like you said, I mean, elusive, no guarantee that it ever comes. Maybe he's 35 years of age. He's got certainly opportunities to do it, but yeah, it's been elusive.
Is there a golf Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, there's a Hall of Fame for everything.
It's the Hall of Fame for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Next question.
Can the Padres overcome their injury issues?
Of course they can.
No. Season over. It was fun.
It's over. It's over, everybody.
Right.
Remember that those signature wins they had earlier on the season? Over.
That was their last.
That was their only wins of the
10
year.
wins.
Yep, 10 wins, and it's done. Just pack it up. Don't even play.
10 and 152.
Don't even play baseball. Yes.
It's over.
Yes. Now, if Tatis is out for a good amount of time here, and same thing with Merrill and Cronenworth, then we will, have those discussions. But from the looks of it and the sound of it, at worst, a week, nothing more. Hopefully, it's not that. But
for who? Both of those guys or one of those guys?
Everybody.
I mean, we don't have no idea. Nobody's said.
Yep, you don't know. We the one thing we do know that is definitive is Jackson Merrill's on a 10-day IL.
Right.
So he cannot come back until next week.
6 more games.
Yeah.
Maybe 7, whatever it is.
Tatis and Cronenworth, we don't know yet. They could either go on the IL on Friday, retroactive to today, or they could be back in the lineup. Or yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. They can overcome these injuries. I tend to bet on Mike Schilt.
Overcome these injuries on April 9th, baby.
But, I mean, you wouldn't want to have money.
No.
If you had a significant injury to someone like Merrill or Tatis this early, and you have time to, figure out a plan moving forward, but there are no plans when it comes to Merrill and Tatis. You need them moving forward. So, yeah, they can be overcome, obviously, and hopefully these are short-term injuries that the Padres are dealing with.
Because your good start could be wiped away pretty quickly here if, they get a bunch of injuries that pile up and they go on they lose 5 of 6, and you're just like, that sucks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, all the good work you've done can be given back as quickly as you've done it. Next question.
How many points will Luka score tonight in his return to Dallas?
43.
101.
That's it?
That would be the all-time NBA high.
Break the record?
Hold up a little piece of paper in black and white. 101. In a 100-80 Lakers win, he scores 101. You think 43?
I don't know. I just keep dying.
That's that number. I can see it. I mean, that's a big number, but it's got a score.
It's a big game for the Lakers tonight.
Have you seen? They lost last night.
You've seen the Western Conference.
Yeah,
games,
we look
right?
at. Yeah, it's been bottlenecked.
Listen to this.
Yep.
All right. In the Western Conference, so OKC and Houston, they're pretty locked in as the 1 and 2 seeds.
Okay.
Seed 3 through 8, Lakers, Clippers, Denver, Golden State, Memphis, Minnesota are all separated by 2 games.
Okay.
You got the Lakers in the 3 seed. They have a 1-game lead over the Clippers, Denver, Golden State, and Memphis.
Come on.
Yeah.
All those teams are separated by a game?
Clippers, Denver, Golden State, Memphis all have the identical record of 47 and 42.
How do you break that?
Tiebreakers.
What, EV? Exit velocity?
Yeah, no.
That's a lot of tiebreakers.
And then Minnesota is 46 and 33. They're a game behind those 4 teams that I just mentioned.
Wow.
So pretty important game tonight for the Lakers. So, yeah, this is not just like a homecoming for Luka and they're just going to walk through. No, you got to win tonight. I think they're going to. It's Mavericks, but still, it's an important game.
Yeah, and I mean, how many games are left? So they have 2 games left or 3?
What's 47 and 32? That's 79.
3 games left.
3 games remaining.
So this is it. Playoffs are going to start within the next couple of weeks. And
next week? No.
Maybe just over a week.
A week and a half.
Week and a half away. That's crazy. All right, where does time go?
Well, I don't know. It just goes.
Yeah.
It just,
it's a flat circle.
So they're the Earth, what happens is it spins, okay?
Right.
And then when it spins, it's also spinning around what's called the sun.
What does that have to do with time?
And that's
no.
How does that affect LeBron's legacy?
That's a very good question,
and
Brent.
Alex Ovechkin.
We'll answer that at 6:01.
Next question.
Where do you guys think Shedeur Sanders will be drafted?
NFL.
Thanks, smart guy.
What do you think?
USFL. I should have said, what pick will Shedeur Sanders be drafted?
Is he going to be a top 2 pick?
From right now, it looks like no.
Right.
And I think that Tennessee and Cleveland would be stupid. And the Giants, if they don't pick him at number 3, would be stupid not to pick him.
Yeah, are the Giants an edge rusher away?
No.
I get it. Edge rushers matter, but don't you need a quarterback first?
You drafted Malik Neighbors last year in the first round, top 10 pick, I think.
Okay.
Why don't you go get him a quarterback?
Right.
I mean, it's not rocket science. And I do have some reservations about Shedeur, but at the same time, you're just going to sit there and be like, let's wait till next year.
Is Cleveland picking second?
Yes.
They got a better quarterback option moving long-term than Shedeur Sanders? No, they don't.
I know.
They honestly do not.
Well,
and you don't know if you're going to have – you don't know what the class looks like the next year, and you don't know where you're picking. And not that any of them are home runs. I can't guarantee to you Cam Ward is a Hall of Famer or Shedeur Sanders is a 10-year Pro Bowler.
They're going to win with their edge rushers, John.
Just going to edge rush everyone to death.
He's seriously, they're just going to edge everybody.
Okay. I don't know. I think Shedeur Sanders ultimately goes top 2. I think Cam Ward 1, Shedeur Sanders 2. Travis Hunter 3.
But then that also makes no sense for the freaking Giants.
They're going to just load up on athletes.
Okay, good luck.
And then they're just going to do the tush push.
And they're going to have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston alternating snaps and just YOLO. See what happens.
When is this thing? Is this next week, 2 weeks, the NFL draft?
Soon.
It's coming.
In Green Bay. Excited for that? Brent?
I bet they are in Wisconsin.
Nope.
I bet the people going to the draft, not from Wisconsin, are very excited.
Yeah. Well, it's coming. I don't know when it is, but within 2 weeks, maybe? Thursday, April 24th. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the NFL draft, first round. I don't know if you can hear that here or not, but 2 weeks from today,
we'll find out.
The NFL draft, again, first round coverage, Thursday through Saturday in Green Bay.
My dad was talking about, I guess, ticket prices, if you want to like go up to the draft, are just like insane.
Of course they are.
To where if you want to go for day one of the draft, you're going to spend like around $30,000 to be down on the floor for that day ticket.
It's one thing that I've never really been like a let me be at the draft guy.
He said even day 4, his buddies were telling him we were like 10 grand for like day 4.
There's no part of me that would ever want to go to the NFL draft,
especially in Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't see the appeal.
No.
Like, oh my gosh, did you see who went 23rd overall? Well, yeah, it's just a name. Like, what's the point of being there?
Because
Boogadell.
Yeah, okay. Is that worth 10 grand? Probably not.
To attend the draft, it costs I'm not paying a penny to attend the draft.
No, I watching it at your house on your couch, that is the way to do it.
You could say that with the actual games.
I know.
There's no guess what? Cam Ward, when he gets drafted, doesn't go out there for the Titans same day and complete 24 of 32 passes.
And what I love is listening to the breakdowns from everybody and listening to the analysis of
why they got it right or wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that 2 years from now being played back and looking how stupid that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when the Niners drafted Trey Lance, I was so happy.
You're like, this is the best day in franchise history.
I didn't say that.
What did you say? I wish we had that audio right now. I could get it quick, but
I was very happy that they didn't draft Mac Jones. That was my excitement level.
Right. I need to hear that.
Now, again, they actually now have Mac Jones as their backup quarterback.
Perfect. So they had both of them.
Time is a flat. Everything has worked out perfectly.
They got to have both of them within 3 years.
I know.
Of each other. But that goes to show the when you have these high picks hitting on quarterbacks.
Yep.
Because when you don't, well, San Fran's still good.
Yeah.
But New England's just been rolling through it.
But they could have easily been a dumpster fire.
Yeah, definitely.
If not for, getting Brock Purdy and then trading for Christian McCaffrey, dude, that could have been a problem.
Maybe the Giants are just scared off because remember the last time they had a top 3 draft pick and I was like, take the quarterback. And then they took Daniel Jones.
They've had opportunities since Daniel Jones in the top 10. That's for sure.
Shedeur Sanders is a much better prospect coming out of college
than
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Nothing's
guaranteed.
Infinitely better.
No guarantees, but I'm with you. Sanders has to be seen as a better prospect than Daniel.
And the only reason why they wouldn't pick Sanders is because of maybe his dad baggage, his attitude. Why is Sanders not?
Wouldn't take him.
Why is Sanders not being viewed as a top 3 pick? I mean, all of his numbers in college are the numbers you want to see out of a top quarterback.
Yeah, I don't really understand. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm going to settle for a 40-year-old quarterback? You're just going to be perpetually awful, or you're going to go try and get a young quarterback that you can develop and keep around for the next 8 years?
Because right now, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's Tennessee, Cleveland, New York, and
Is it Chicago?
New England.
Yeah.
and Jacksonville. That's the top 5. Jacksonville, no. New England, no. If the Giants are going to pick Shador, and if the Browns are going to pick Shador, and if the Titans are going to pick Cam Ward, then look who's sitting there at 6. Now they just signed Geno Smith, but the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah. He's not falling. He's not falling to 6. You know what happens at quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. On the other side, much more. The Padres winning today in Sacramento. We'll get a health update on Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jay Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill from Kevin Acee coming up at 5 p.m. Also this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place, John and Jim. All right, tonight at 6, San Diego Sports 760 has SDFC Midweek Live. Here from head coach Mikey Varas. Interviews with Other players and coaches, you can find out the latest club and MLS info, hosted by Darren Smith. SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. By the way, Padres beat the A's. Kevin Acee will join us again coming up at 5 p.m. But speaking of SDFC, they are currently in second place in the West. Did you know that, Jim? You did, because we've talked about it.
I did.
They will play on the road this weekend. Did you know that? Probably. Where are they playing this weekend? Let's do some trivia.
Okay.
Let's do some SDFC trivia with Jim. Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
They play this weekend in Colorado against the Rapids.
Correct. Okay. Let me see. I'll do a little more trivia.
Okay.
Their next home match is against whom? Take away his credential if you're listening.
Let me go with
Oh wait, it's not a home match. Well, you could tell me who their next home match is, but they have back-to-back road matches.
Yeah, it's a little weird because like where it I never seen it.
Yeah.
I'll go with
what, their next home, are you trying to guess?
Yeah, their next home.
I'll just tell you.
Vancouver?
Salt Lake.
I was gonna say Salt Lake.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could ask you. Do you know what MLS stands for? Do you know what SDFC stands for? But again, it's been obviously a great start. You can hear more with Darren Smith coming up tonight at 6 p.m. You can hear every match all season long right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. That includes this weekend against the Rapids in Colorado.
I do have a little tease for what you can hear tonight on SDFC.
Yes, please tell me.
Anibal Godoy, Mikey Varez, and DJ Beto, our very own.
Oh, like the DJ.
Yes,
here.
Beto.
I love that.
You see him all the time. Love Beto. You can hear them on the show tonight with Darren and Adrian Garcia Marquez. I believe Warren Barton will also be involved as well. So yeah, it's 1 full hour of SDFC talk. You're not going to get that anywhere else in this town. And it's a really good listen. It's every Wednesday, weekly for the season. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what SDFC has done to begin its season. I'm just thinking about from a fan interest perspective. They've played 4 home matches. I think that's right.
Undefeated.
And not just that, just the interest. I mean, you're talking about 30,000+ fans for 4 matches. Like that's not duplicated everywhere. There's a lot of these soccer-specific stadiums that aren't even near the size of Snapdragon Stadium. There's other teams that aren't drawing like San Diego, even in a large venue like an NFL venue. So, yeah, I know it's an expansion year. It's year 1. People are excited. I know it's helpful to get off to a good start. They picked the right market. This ain't rocket science. They should have picked it 20 years earlier. This is the 30th year of the league. Everyone has known that San Diego would be exceptional for Major League Soccer, but now everything came together because you had the stadium. And again, this is post-NFL San Diego. And the interest is at a really high clip right now. So I think people should be excited because we didn't know if they would be good on field immediately, and they have been good on field immediately. And it's cool to see that for the fans that have been so supportive since day one here this year.
Everybody that I've talked to that has gone to an SDFC match, and maybe they're not the biggest soccer fans, maybe they just wanted to see it in person for themselves, just something to do on a Saturday night. Every single person that has walked out of Snapdragon Stadium after an SDFC match this year has said that was awesome. And it has been. You know, I've been to 3 myself. I want to go as a fan, not just as a member of the media sitting up in the press box, but you know, hearing from fans that have just wanted to see what this is all about could not have been a better start for SDFC. They're exciting. They score a bunch of goals so far early in the season. They play an exciting brand of soccer, keeps you engaged. They're always on the attack. And I think the branding of the team has been really well done. I think the in-game and pre-game ceremonies, you know, and in-game kind of things that they do, it's been great to have, you know, Manny Machado and all the Padres players early on, how much they support this team, not per se the Padres, but the players,
Not the Padres.
not the Padres, but the players,
Not on social media.
how much they have supported SDFC. So, you see Padres fans, they're like, what's this all about? And they go check it out and they realize, whoa, this is a lot of fun. And they realize that, oh, the supporter section, they're cheering the entire match. Like they don't let up at all. And it's just a fun time. And Snapdragon Stadium is a great, environment for a soccer match. And again, I go back to the LAFC match. That place was, man, that was crazy. That was awesome. I'm a very casual soccer fan, so there's probably soccer fans out there that are listening that might have experienced better atmospheres. That's great. Me personally, I haven't. So this being some of my firsthand experiences with soccer at a professional level, to this level, right? In a soccer specific stadium with 35,000 people, like, dude, it's awesome. I'm in. I'm excited, and it's nice that they are one of the best teams in the league too.
Yeah, that helps. Better than being 0-7.
Right.
That helps. All right, back to the Padres, who earned that win in Sacramento today. On the other side, we'll give away Sesame Place tickets coming up later this hour, and then Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We're here until 6 on John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres beat the A's. They 2-1 win the series. They are now 10-3 on the year. Best record in baseball. First team to 10 wins in baseball. They have an off day tomorrow before starting the 3-game series and a 6-game homestand with the Colorado Rockies starting on Friday night. Tonight, Luka makes his return to Dallas as the Lakers take on the Mavericks. And 6 p.m., SDFC Midweek Live, hosted by Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez. 1 full hour of SDFC talk right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind at Anderson Plumbing. They're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We're 15 minutes away from giving away Sesame Place tickets. We're just minutes away from the Lakers and Mavericks tipping off in Dallas, the return of Luka Doncic for the first time since that trade. And we're about 30 minutes away from Kevin Acee joining us once again here on John and Jim.
Oh, AD is playing.
Yeah, you told me AD wasn't playing. I was told earlier that this is the first time that LeBron has faced AD in over 6 years.
Well, yeah, they were teammates, Sean.
Well, but there's been a game where he missed. And you told me, oh, they're not playing today. There was a game earlier this year that AD missed.
Okay.
So now they're back on the floor together for the first time in over 6 years.
I thought AD was going to be out for the rest
I know
of the
you
year.
did, but you're wrong.
I just don't keep up with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm sorry.
And then Luka's return is certainly intriguing, to put it lightly, because ever since that trade was made, the criticism towards the Mavericks organization for basically everyone, I'm talking about people outside of basketball, everyone's been like, what on earth are you doing? And this still has the possibility. This has the makings of being an all-time awful trade, right? Luka's going to be in LA for forever. He's 25 years of age. AD's in his 30s at this point. We're just getting started in terms of the impact on Luka and that trade, with him going to LA, what that's going to mean for the NBA for the next decade, with Luka now in a Lakers uniform moving forward. That's still kind of crazy to think about.
I don't know if the Lakers are going to win at a high clip with just Luka. But what I do know is they got the star.
Right.
What would you say about the Juan Soto trade as you spill water over yourself?
Juan Soto is the team that wins the trade.
The team that trades for the superstar player more often than not wins the trade. Not all the time. Not all the time. More often than not.
Right.
And now if Luka doesn't sign an extension with the Lakers, then you got problems.
He will, right?
I would think so. And if he doesn't, okay, then you can say Dallas, maybe he was right here. Won the trade.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kyrie's got to come back. AD's got to stay healthy. Clay has to. I don't even know if Clay's out there. I don't even know what Clay's doing right now with the Mavericks, to be honest with you. But in the short term, it was viewed as, all right, Dallas can compete for a championship in the short term. Long term, they just wiped out that long-term window because without Luka, you're now looking at more of like a 4 to 5 year window than a 8 to 12 year window.
What's the 4 to 5 year window? Because AD's 32. I'm just looking up. Kyrie Irving is 33. Klay Thompson is 35. So are they even? Is that window? They don't have
2 to 3 year window.
Yeah, it's a.
Who knows about next year, because now Kyrie's going to miss most of that season with his ACL.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's a year older, and he's not getting younger. He is a guy that you could just tell the wear and tear of playing so much with the Warriors and all the injuries that he's gotten. It's come back to him. And then can AD lead a franchise? No. So even if the Lakers don't win a championship with Luka, I still think it's an awful trade for the Mavericks. Awful trade.
Yeah.
Because even if the Lakers don't win, they'll still be competing for titles the next 2-3 years.
When does Luka
Not the Mavericks.
When does Luka have the option here to become a free agent?
It's a good question. Not entirely sure on that.
It's at least what? It's not this year.
It's
right?
close.
It's still a year or two away.
Because there were discussions in Dallas about
An extension,
the Supermax deal, and that the owners were scared of it because they thought Luka was fat and all he did was drink beer.
Well, it's interesting because they were in the finals with them last year. It hasn't even been a year.
All he does is put up triple doubles. that's okay with me. Guy can drink as much beer as he wants.
He is under contract through next season and has a player option.
So basically
for the
next
season
year.
after. So he's got another year. Yeah, that is interesting to consider, but you're really walking away from the LA Lakers if you're Luka. I would be surprised if he did that. Like, where are you going if you're Luka, right? Isn't that a destination? Can't you basically get everything you want there? Money, fame, win?
Well, the Lakers' job over the next year plus is to do everything they possibly can to make Luka feel at home, and so he will want to sign that Supermax.
Absolutely.
Now, it won't be the same amount of money that he could have gotten from the Mavericks. That's another part of the equation that people aren't really talking about. Is the Mavericks screwed Luka out of hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yeah.
I mean, that alone would piss me off to the nth degree if I was Luka. Like, yeah, it sucks that, I planted roots here in Dallas. I thought I was going to be here for my entire career. Not only did you trade me, but you screwed me out of over $100 million.
How about this? So according to the internet, which we both have,
Which is never wrong, right?
he could have gotten 345 in Dallas. That would have been the Supermax high, okay? If he stayed, 345 million. You can live off in Dallas.
Yeah, probably.
Now, can you live in LA off 229? Because he's going to be out $116 million potentially. Can you imagine getting traded somewhere and that trade costing you $100 million?
I'm literally fighting somebody.
Now, can you make that up in endorsements? I would say no. That's a lot of money, $100 million.
I'm fighting the Mavericks general manager.
What do you think his true feelings are on the trade?
Oh, I bet you he hated it. He felt
disrespected,
undercutted, betrayed, disrespected, all that.
Do you think on the other side of it now, a few months later, he's, content with where he's ended up?
I would use it as, if I was him, I would be pissed, and I would use it as all the motivation in the world to stick it to everybody in the Dallas Mavericks organization that okayed that trade.
Yeah, they bet against me, essentially. Like, they didn't think I could win at the highest level. I'm going to show them. Because he just did. The thing that's so confounding to me is that he was just in the finals last year. It would be one thing if he got there as a rookie and then there were 5 years he didn't get there and he was out of shape. Whatever you think about his fitness, by the way, it's undeniable his ability.
Now he's crying. They're playing a welcome back Luka video, and Luka is crying watching this video.
He's literally crying.
Literally tears are coming down his face.
What's with the video, guys? You could have saved the video and just kept him.
Literally, you just could have kept him.
Why? What's with the video? What a rod. It's hard. It hurts our heart to have lost you. Well, you made the trade.
Digital team's like, wait, why do we have to make this video?
Right. We could have just kept the player.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
Oh yeah. He's got his towel over his face.
See, yeah, he did not want to leave. He did not want to leave.
Who would want to leave? They drafted you. You're a young man. You win there at a high level. Then they just showed the whole organization outside. Thank you, Luka.
What?
Can we play this or not?
Hold on.
So we'll play his introduction.
Thank you, Luka. We're sorry we traded you.
At guard, in his 7th season from Slovenia, number 77, Thank you, Luka.
This thing was so avoidable.
It's such a dumb homecoming.
What are we doing?
They're like, man, his 7 seasons, it's going to be remembered as the greatest run in the history of the well, you didn't have to get rid of him.
He wanted to sign with you.
He didn't leave.
He wanted to sign a Supermax.
And now everyone's like, it's so great to have you back. You just traded him.
It was just like
100 fake.
It's so fake.
You get divorced and you're like, it's so good to be back, honey. You guys made a decision. You didn't have to do this.
No. He didn't make the decision. The decision was made for him. So it's like, if I get a divorce, but Aaron's like, wait, what? You didn't tell me about it.
Right. Or you want the divorce, she doesn't. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, everyone's hugging. Like, it's so great to see you. What do you mean it's great to see you?
It's like, you're the one that
you
chose
walked out
this.
on me.
And I didn't know anything about it.
It's a bizarre situation.
So weird.
Honestly, the people I feel worse for are the fans of the Dallas Mavericks. What are you thinking? in this weird time. You're in the finals last year. Now you trade away the star, and now he's back 2 months later. What are you thinking as a fan of the Mavericks?
Who's their general manager again? I forgot his name.
Everyone can't deal with this guy, right?
No, he's awful. Who is
it?
What's
Nico something?
Nico Harrison?
Yeah.
Is it Nico Harrison? Okay.
Let's just say it is.
Sure. Doesn't matter. Guy's irrelevant anyway. He's
Nico Harrison.
Yeah, he's going to get fired in a couple years anyway.
Is he, though? Calvin Booth is losing his job. Nico Harrison's sticking around. Right?
This is so stupid. It was all so avoidable, and yet
so avoidable.
Yet you just made this trade for no reason, and then it backfired on you so hard this year. Like, name me something that's backfired harder on a general manager in sports than the Luka Doncic trade this season.
1 hour ago at TMZ, Dallas Mavericks fans buy billboard calling for GM Nico Harrison's firing.
Good.
If you Google his name, dear Nico Harrison, you traded Luka Doncic. Mavericks fans will never forgive you. Fire Nico protest has become a mural ahead of his return. I mean, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
Imagine his inbox.
I don't want to. There's probably some awful people out there that are taking it too far.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And going after his family, and probably there's a bunch of death threats, I would assume, and that's just out of line, unacceptable. But for calling for a guy's job, for making a completely avoidable move that ended up backfiring on you, is totally within the realm of being okay. It's like, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to trade him.
It's just like kind of like fake. It's a fake homecoming. It's like a fake. Oh, it's so great to have you back. I can't believe you left. He didn't. You pushed him out the door.
Yeah. He wanted to stay.
All right. Call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place, a great giveaway valued at hundreds of dollars. We have a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place right here in San Diego. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760 and do it right now. Our first 2 callers will be contestants. One of you will win a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. 877-767-4760. Call right now. What do you got?
Real quick. Worldwide Wob?
Yeah. The account.
Rob Perez.
Right.
He tweeted out just moments ago, imagine getting dumped by someone you loved and your ex has you come over 2 months later to watch your greatest hits. That's exactly what just happened with Luka.
Yeah, we were saying that. Like, this is a bizarre scene.
Very bizarre.
In Dallas, Texas. All right, we'll give away those Sesame Place tickets on the other side. And Kevin Acee from Sacramento and the Padres series win, but also their injuries. He'll join us at 5 p.m. on John and Jim. All right, Kevin AC will join us in about 10 minutes at 5 p.m. We'll give away the Sesame Place tickets momentarily. Lakers Mavs underway from Dallas tonight. Luka has an early field goal. We should just do play-by-play.
It's so funny because I feel like Mavericks fans are rooting for the Lakers tonight because every time Luka's touched the ball so far, the crowd has cheered.
Well, everyone is wearing a Luka something, whether it's a Mavericks jersey or a sweatshirt or a Lakers jersey. Like, everyone is rooting for Luka.
I just saw a Mavericks fan sitting second row filming, wearing a Mavericks shirt, and Luka just scored, and he started pumping his fist.
He's probably wearing a Luka Mavericks shirt.
Maybe.
I think a lot of people are. So, yeah, this is kind of odd to watch. Lakers and Mavericks from Dallas underway. We will keep you updated on that. And again, Kevin will join us coming up in 10 minutes. What do you got, bro?
What I can't wait for is later in the game when Luka's got like 30-some points, and every time he makes a field goal, they'll cut over to Nico Harrison and just have this look.
It's even there.
Is he going to show his face?
Right, exactly.
Coward.
He would almost have to. It'd be a worse look if he didn't show up for tonight.
He did in LA. Remember, he was on the floor during introductions. All right, let's play.
Greetings. Here we go. Time for Team John versus Team Jim.
You want me to play?
3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Tommy and we have Christian. Tommy, you called in first. You have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Give me John.
All right, Tommy and John.
Christian,
Tommy and Johnny.
There you go. Christian, you get Jim, okay?
Excellent.
All right. Brent, what's the question of the day?
You guys should have a surgery named after you. All right, guys, like you said earlier, the NFL draft is just 2 weeks away. Today's question, name any team that has a top 10 draft pick in this year's draft.
All right.
So we're looking for anyone it's in the top 10 for draft picks.
All right. Like it. Christian, you're up first. What's your first guess? You'd have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Was this for NFL, you said?
Yes.
Yes.
This year.
The Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Are the Cards in the top 10?
No. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's all right. It's 3 rounds.
Yep. Tommy, you're up next. What's your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Going with the Cleveland Brownies.
Cleveland Brownies.
An annual rite of passage.
Number 2.
They'll always be in the top 10.
Christian, you're up. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
The Giants.
The Giants. Number
Also
3.
in the top 10 a lot.
Tommy, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
The Jets are up there.
Jets are up
They
there.
are.
They're top 10. Christian, you're going to need this to stay in the match here. What is your next guess? You do have a lifeline still if you want to use it. Oh, Christian.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm going to go with the Raiders.
The Raiders. They're in there.
All right. So what's their score? Give me an update.
2-2. Tommy can win this with a walk-off here.
All right. Bottom of the 3rd.
Or 9th.
Yeah.
If
final
analogy. Final inning here. Tommy.
They don't call them the New Orleans Aints for nothing, right?
The New Orleans Saints.
You got a lifeline. The Saints are on the list.
Saints!
Well done, Tommy. You're a winner. They don't call them the Aints for nothing. I would have said the Titans if nobody said it.
No one said the Titans. The number 1 pick in this year's draft.
Who else is on this list? The top 10 picks coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow night.
Titans pick number 1. Cleveland's 2. The Giants are 3. The Patriots are 4th. Jacksonville goes 5th. The Raiders are 6th. The Jets are 7th. The Panthers pick 8th. The Aints pick 9th. And my Bears pick 10th.
Are you expecting a big blockbuster trade on the opening night of the NFL draft?
Cardinals pick 16th, by the way.
Because you're going to get that tweet from Schefter, within 24 hours, the Titans are talking to the Niners about a landmark deal.
Stop.
Tune in at 5 p.m. Pacific on Thursday night to find out if it happens. I feel like they always do that.
You guys will trade for that Mayonnaise guy.
I hope that there's moves because that's what makes draft night so fun is the chaos. If
That's
it's
where
just
the NBA gets it right.
If it's just chalk and everyone, there's no movement in the first round. Still I'll watch 100%, but I want chaos.
But the other part that's always interesting, the human interest part of it, is which player drops. Which player that's ticketed for a top 12 pick is still available at 24th. and then they keep showing him with his family. I feel like that's cruel, right? Like they show a green room and someone's just sitting there.
I can't really think of a quarterback that would drop. I mean, I don't think Shador's going to drop. Cam Moore's not going to drop.
No, not necessarily a quarterback, but there'll be a green room, right?
But
With more than two people.
Usually it's the quarterback that draws the most interest if they drop.
True, but I'm saying like if Abdul Carter,
okay,
it's a bad example. He'll go in the top 4. But if he's ticketed for 3 and he's there at 9, that's like so much drama and intrigue. Yeah, and then they keep showing his family.
He's not supposed to be that high of a pick, but I think that this year's, I don't know, pity cam or whatever you want to call it, is going to be Jalen Milroe from Alabama. He's not supposed to be like picked in the top 2 rounds, but yet they gave him an invitation to go to the draft. So he'll be sitting there by himself.
They did?
Yeah, and he accepted it. I don't know.
I don't really keep up, to be honest with you, with anything other than like the top 5 picks.
Yeah. I just saw because it was in the news like last week that they extended him an invite, and it was just kind of weird because, Sanders and those, if you're going to be a top 10 pick, it makes sense.
But this guy could be sitting there for
3 days. You're like projected 3rd round pick. Is like, why do you need to go to draft day 1?
Interesting. All right, we'll keep you updated on Lakers and Mavericks again underway tonight in Dallas. The return of Luka to Dallas, albeit in Lakers purple. And Kevin Acee will join us on the other side. An eventful week in Sacramento. They lose Jackson Merrill to the IL. They lose Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth in-game yesterday, yet they bounce back and win today. So we'll get some health updates on Jake Cronenworth and Fernando Tatis Jr., even Jackson Merrill as well, and then we'll look ahead as well. We still have a moment here. We'll look ahead to what's to come for the Padres, who are off tomorrow. So now they got like the 48-plus hours. You play on a Wednesday afternoon, you don't play Thursday, and then you play Friday night. It's like we're not going to see the Padres again for what feels like forever. It's only 2 days.
I know, but in our business,
it feels like a long time.
Feels like a long time,
because you and I do 3 shows basically between games, because we're doing a show right now. They've already played. We do a show tomorrow. They're not playing. We do a show Friday afternoon before they play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like 3 shows between games. Now they were playing this afternoon. We were on the air for a little bit, but
only for the first hour of the show.
Yeah, it feels like a decent amount of time, but baseball's done this now. The Wednesday day game into the Thursday off day gives teams like 48 hours off. A lot.
Dude, they have like 9 straight Thursdays off this year.
Right. Yeah, you said to start the year, they don't play on a Thursday for forever.
No. And not every Wednesday is a day game, but
right.
There's a lot of times this year to the first month and a half and majority of the season where we're going to be dealing with what you just talked about, like day game Wednesday, off day Thursday, night game Friday. It's a long time in the baseball season before games.
I agree. Yeah.
Feels like forever.
All right. Kevin Acee will join us from Sacramento on the other side. Injury updates on the 10-3 Padres. Best record in baseball. That's next, John and Jim.
This update brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres pick up the win today over the Athletics 2-1. They moved to 10-3 on the year, best record in baseball. They have an off day tomorrow before they start the 6-game homestand and the 3-game series with the Rockies on Friday night. And tonight, 6 p.m., it's SDFC Midweek Live with Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez. 1 full hour of SDFC talk right here on your home for San Diego FC 760. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind at Anderson Plumbing. They're buying back your old water heaters and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
Kevin Acee on San Diego Sports 760. Brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, it's been an eventful couple of days, to say the least, for the Padres. The winning continues. They win that series in Sacramento. They've got the best record in baseball, but there are injury concerns. And it's great to have Kevin Acee back with us, our Padres insider on John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760. So let's just start there. Floor is yours. There's a lot of guys. Merrill on the IL. Tatis obviously hasn't played since exiting yesterday. Cronenworth hasn't played since exiting yesterday. Are there any health updates with those three players? And thanks, Kevin, for joining as always.
Thanks for having me. Listen, they all seem optimistic. That's really all that we can go on right now. And I would say that like Tatis was laughing last night. Cronenworth said he was going to lobby to get in today. That was never going to happen. After the game, Schultz said that, in a pinch, he had Tatis available off the bench, was very glad he didn't have to use them, expressed optimism they'll play Friday. I will say that, they both spent most of the game getting treatment, then then came out and watched the end in the dugout there. It's possible that they play Friday at home against the Rockies. I will say all along that Jackson Merrill has not been limping. There was not a traumatic event. So that's like a really good sign, and that he will be back after he misses the 9 games. So that would be the 18th in Houston. So as bad as yesterday could have been, and I'm not saying that these guys are going to be back Friday and that Jackson will be back on time. I'm not guaranteeing that, but it sure seems like it. But as bad as last night, and you arrived at the ballpark today going, man, what's this going to be like? It looks like the Padres are going to come out of it okay, and what they'll need to do is just try to survive. Let's say Jake and Fernando miss a couple more games, right? They just need to eke it out like they did today.
And last night, when Tatis leaves that game, and at the end of the game, we find out, all right, it's his shoulder, it's his surgically repaired shoulder, inflammation. I mean, you can't help but get PTSD, Kevin. I mean, this guy can't stay healthy. And you just can't help but wonder, are we really going to have to go through this again?
I would say that even if we don't, we will. You know what I mean? Like even if he comes back Friday and hits 3 bombs, right? You'll be like, okay. I mean, and that's kind of how it is. That's it seems sort of unfair to him, but then it's not. It's entirely fair for a guy who, the full season he had was 2020, and that was 60 games. I guess he did have a full season and lead the National League in home runs, but I mean, was hurt all of 2021. So yeah, that's just right now until he has a few seasons where he gets through without any scares. And this is a legit scare. It would be kind of unfair to him if it weren't, like you said, it was on a swing. It was somewhat reminiscent of what we've seen before with him before the surgery. So yeah, it's scary for the Padres.
It is. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider with us right now on John and Jim. Just going back to Cronenworth for a moment, because I know Mike Schilt was using the word cramping yesterday, but this stems from him being hit in Chicago by a fastball, right, on the rib. So is it cramping or is it swelling or what's the injury that Jake Cronenworth is dealing with?
I know. I have not been able to discern that. Right. Jake called it cramping as well. I think that's what he's being told by the trainer. So he did say, I don't know if that's exactly what it is, because what it is there's a lot of fluid in there. I mean, that was some puffy skin. The guy got hit in the kidney area on the side. It was the worst he's ever experienced, he said. And it almost seemed like he was still having trouble breathing after that game. And he says that after being hit, it's usually the second day afterwards the toughest. And that running yesterday aggravated it. And then on that swing, he just couldn't go anymore. So cramping, I don't know. But yes, it is. The bottom line is it's a result of him being hit square on 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Doesn't seem that hard unless, you're the guy being hit square on by it. It seems like he's going to be in there on Friday.
Dylan Cease last night, velo was up, throwing, hard, but a lot of hangers. His command was way off, did not look like himself. I think it was worst start of his career. Do you think this is more mechanically thing going on with him to start the season, or is there something more to this? What's your what do you got here with Dylan Cease?
He had a terrible night with his command. From what people said, and to my eye, I'll always tell you I'm not a coach or a scout. Stuff looked good, except the fastballs that didn't move all that much and just went straight to the center of the zone. It was the craziest inning so he gets the first 2 outs where they scored the 6 runs in the first, and then he's up 0-2 on the next 2 guys who get hits, and then first pitch hits. Like, it was either he was walking guys nowhere near the zone or throwing fastballs down the middle. And so I think, you're right. It was his worst start by statistics, but you know what? Like, Dylan's kind of prone to those, right? It's why I sometimes get him mixed up. He's like the right-handed Blake Snell. I mean, like, he's prone to those. He's an amazing pitcher who some nights you just don't know what you're going to get.
Kevin Acee with us right now on John and Jim. You look up, and I know it's only 2 weeks. You have to be careful not to react, but there are some players in this lineup that have really performed. I mean, you look at Xander with his 3 hits today. He's hit. Obviously, we know what Manny and Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. They've gotten production from their catchers so far this year. I guess it's just a general sentiment that this offense, I think there were a lot of questions about its depth, but they've gotten production basically all throughout to start the season here.
You have throughout the core. Yeah, and they have. You're right. Like, Yuli Gurriel has a couple big hits. As disappointing as kind of the start has been. Gavin Sheets, big hits. But like, I came into the series thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a story on the core, right? I'm going to write a story on the 6 guys who are Jackson is being paid, but not until next year. But like the 6 guys that they need, as much as we all get up in arms about Jason Hayward and Yuli Gurriel and Team Maldonado and all that. It's those 6 guys that are going to carry this offense, and they pretty much have been doing that. And so that's part of why it was such a big hit, right? Like, you lose half your core there in basically one day. But you are correct. Like, those guys, the 6 guys: O'Rise, Bogarts, Machado, Cronenworth, Tatis, Merrill. I just did that in reverse order, sort of. But those guys have just been, carrying the team like they're supposed to.
Kevin, what's going on with this beef between the umpires and Luis Ariz?
I guess they're just holding a little grudge. Look, it started in spring training where they saw a quote, and, Luis is such a nice guy, and it was just weird. And so, he's been talking about it just like privately, like how they bummed him out. They bummed him out. He's the nicest guy. And so he let it go. And then, a couple of days ago, he just felt like he wanted to put out a public apology, sort of. So I wrote about it today in my newsletter. They didn't like that he said that they weren't very good last year. I don't know what possessed him to say it. I don't know if, I know that he said it. I know he never said he didn't say it. That's for sure. He owned it, but he was just kind of taken back and at first frustrated by it. He wasn't happy with me. But he never denied that he said it, didn't say I did anything wrong, but he was just bummed because that's what you come to learn about this guy. He really was just sad. You watch him on the field. He hugs the first baseman when he gets to first. He's always talking to the umpires, the catcher. He is honestly one of the friendliest ball players, one of the friendliest people, and happy-go-lucky that I've ever seen. And so I suppose the umpires will this kind of stuff goes on all the time. But maybe not with someone who it bums out as much as Luis. So I suppose they'll drop it soon.
I'm surprised, Kevin, that they would hold a grudge like that, because now I get it. There's an umpire union, there's a players union. I'm sure there's some unwritten stuff that goes on there. But I mean, criticism of umpires is part of sport, right? Criticism of officials, it's kind of part of the job. It's maybe why you're paid as handsomely as you are. I mean, I'm reading the quote that you published again today in UT. It wasn't like some absurd quote about umpire. Said umpire was bad last year. I mean, that's not some ridiculous thing to say. Does it somewhat surprise you that this is kind of played out with the umpires towards the rise based on that one quote?
It does, and I haven't run into any of them. They can't talk on the record,
right.
But I haven't run into any of them to sort of be like, hey, I was just wondering what's going on. Because it was every crew. And they only saw like 4 different crews or whatever, 5 different crews in spring training. But it was every crew. And then it hasn't been unanimous that the umpires haven't talked to him during the regular season, but this crew was giving him the cold shoulder. And so obviously it got around, right? Like they must have a text chain. And maybe they're sensitive about the ABS coming or something. Maybe they were taken back because he is such a good guy. I don't know. But yes, I thought it was terribly surprising. And without talking to them, I'm not going to spout off about it, but I kind of gosh, that's kind of lame.
Dude's the nicest guy ever. How could
he hits?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He treats people with respect.
Yeah,
too. Right. And that's he's a good guy.
Very, very weird. Randy Vasquez today, kind of giving them exactly what they look for from Randy Vasquez. Only 61 pitches, but they got him out of there in the 5th. They did not want to do any more. They had a rested bullpen. You get that from Randy Vasquez. The walks are still concerning. 3 walks today, but overall, I think he has 12 walks and 15 2/3 innings on the season. But man, if he gets those walks down, Kevin, it's pretty good.
Yeah, more walks than hits. Though you know what? I was looking it up to see how rare that was. So does Garrett Crochet, and I'm not comparing the two of them, but I'm saying, and it was some other guys too, some really good pitchers who have, at this stage of the season, have walked more guys than hits. So I don't know, maybe Randy's on his way. I think he's certainly trending up. I think he's a real, like you're basically saying, I think he is a really effective number 5 starter. The stars aligned today, right? They were back to the 3rd time of the order. Lawrence Butler, the leadoff man, a lefty. Lefties hit him pretty well. And they had their 4 studs at the back of the bullpen rested with an off day coming tomorrow, right? If he had somehow gotten through with 1 or 2 fewer batters faced, and he would have come out for the 6th. But it was you know what? We can do this because we got everything's lining up. It's time to get Randy out of there. Good for him. He got his first win. And he's actually controlling the lefties fairly well. I think righties are now got it. Wilson got a hit today. So it's they're 1 for 20 against him this year or something. The A's, unlike his first 2 opponents, weren't able to stack their lineup with lefties. So maybe that was good too. But yeah, Randy, I'm writing about it right now. You guys interrupted my writing, and I'm very happy to hear from you. But I'm writing about it right now, just kind of the ascension. It was a rough spring. There were some things that you had to work on. And you know what? He worked on them, and I think those things go unappreciated sometimes because we're Joe Musgrove's out, Yu Darvish is out, you got Michael King, Dylan Cease, and you're like, hey, Randy Vasquez still got to give you 25, starts and keep your team in the game, and you nailed it. He did that today. He's actually done it twice, and with those 6 shutout in his first game, and I think it's a good start to the season for him.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. And I saw in your post game write up on this game, I kind of forgotten the signs of a good team. They're winning 1-run games. They've had come from behind wins. 5-0 in 1-run games. 4 come from behind wins. This is how you start a season. And the Padres have started incredibly well. Again, the caveat is always health. Hopefully they can come out on the other side with all of these players, Merrill, Tatis, and Cronenworth, at some point sooner rather than later. But Kevin, appreciate it. Safe travels. We'll catch up before this Rocky series begins on Friday.
Hey, all right, guys. Well, can't wait to get out of Sacramento. There's a win. Oh, boy.
There's another win.
Yeah, there you go.
Love that. Travel safe, Kevin. Thank you.
See ya.
Could have been there when it was 130 degrees. Kevin AC brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino and Resort, the Players' Place. We'll react on the other side here until 6, John and Jim. All right, so Kevin Acey with good updates, I would say, on the health of the Padres and where they are right now, 10-3 overall, heading back home for Colorado. I mean, I thought he echoed with what Mike Schultz said about Merrill, Tatis, Cronenworth. How could he not? I mean, he's got a report based on what the manager's telling him. He's not going to go do independent reporting and check in on Jake Cronenworth's like ribs.
He's going to knock on his door.
Yeah, like, hey,
room.
Jake, let me see like the what's going on. But I mean, all of it makes sense. The Jake Cronenworth hit by pitch on Sunday, if you miss this thing, it's 40 degrees. He got hit flush on the side of his kidney ribs. Like that sounds awful. He's in his 30s. He says it's the worst hit by pitch of his career. So that's all you really need to know. That to me sounds like you might need time. Can you imagine rib injury, seriously, as a Major League Baseball player?
It's the worst because
you could deal with it every day.
You got to throw, it impacts your ribs. You got to swing a bat, it impacts your ribs. You got to slide, it impacts your ribs.
And everyone always says like rib injuries, like it hurts. You feel it.
You can't even breathe, dude.
That's the thing. You can't. What are you gonna do? You don't like wrap it up. You
No.
can't do anything with it. So there's that. All right. Cronenworth is a gamer. Maybe it takes an extra day or two. Tatis, I guess you're just trusting in it's just a tweak, and maybe it takes another day or two. And then with Merrill, according to Kevin, they're optimistic that there's nothing of great substance. They just put him on the IL to be cautious. So taking all that on its face, I mean, it's hopefully not terribly bad news.
And I'm okay with it if it's just a couple days. And as we talked with Kevin about Fernando Tatis Jr., like that's just what the narrative is on Tatis until he can prove he's healthy. Like he is an injury-prone player. If someone wants to say he's made of glass, I'm not going to argue with you because there's plenty of evidence to prove that statement is correct. He can't stay healthy. He can't. And when these types of things pop up and he's, swinging a baseball bat and he comes up grimacing and it's like, what do you do now?
Yeah. And I also don't know what the Tatis injury or whatever ailment he was experiencing last night stems from. He slid into third awkwardly, which is like a staple of his career. Odd slides, right? Like head over heels, just like throw your body at a base type slide. So maybe it happened there. He stayed down, got up, stayed in the game, then took an ultra aggressive swing like he always does, that you want to see, and then looked like he hurt his shoulder again doing that. So I don't know if he's been dealing with it. And then Kevin wrote that actually last night. We could have asked that. He said he's been dealing with a bulky shoulder. So was he dealing with it because of what happened last night?
Dude, I can't even.
Right?
Because this is what happened last year. First series of the season against the Giants. Hurt his leg. He had a stress reaction. He was playing on one leg for like 3 months.
Yeah, but if you have re-injured a shoulder that was surgically repaired not that long ago, like I hope not, man.
I hope
the whole point of the repair
is to
that thing's like fixed. Like you surgically repair a labrum, which is what he had done. You shouldn't be hurting that same labrum, although these are professional athletes. I don't know. I'm just going to hope for the best with Tatis. But the thing with Tatis, and for people like, oh, you're jumping too far. No, with Tatis, you're never jumping too far.
Because he's always injured.
That's the thing. So he's got to prove it. Until he makes 158 starts in a major league season.
That's pretty high.
Just what he should be doing. I mean, he's $30 million a year for a 26-year-old outfielder. Why shouldn't he play every day?
I get it.
Okay, 155.
155.
Until he makes 155 starts in the major leagues, I think it's a fair question.
And not only make 155 starts, but make 155 starts with like 41 bombs, a 920 OPS, 32 stolen bases. He hits 285, 110 RBI. Like, hey, you're capable of that. We all know you are. Can you do it?
Right.
Because you haven't proven it in your entire career that you can. And the 2021 year, when he was, going on the IL every other month with a subluxed shoulder, still at 41 home runs. Now, if you want to be that person out there, well, that was, pre-steroid suspension. Okay. I'm not going to argue with that either. Like Tatis, his defense, it's very thin. There's really not much defense here for Tatis. Anything you say about him, it's really hard to argue. Yeah. Hey, well, everything that Tatis did as far as the power numbers was before his steroid suspension. Okay. Tatis is made of glass. Okay. I can't sit here and fully defend Tatis like I would want to, because there's so much in his career that's been against him.
I absolutely love he to me at this stage in his career, we don't know how to finish it. He's to me one of my favorite athletes ever. Okay? So that's one side of the coin. He genuinely is one of my most favorite players in any sport. When he burst onto the scene, I thought it was incredible. You're like, what can this guy not do? Right? Matrix slides. He looked like a one-of-one type player.
Scoring on second on a pop fly to
shortstop.
So like
shortstop. But to tell the whole story, there's another side of that coin, unfortunately. And he needs to go prove those. Like he's got to change the narrative, and he's the only one that can do it. And then basically all he's got to do, I say this, all he's got to do is stay on field and produce. But that's what he's paid to do.
Right.
Like if he's Manny moving forward, awesome. You're staying on field, you're producing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's the best thing about Manny Machado is he posts and, always puts up those numbers, 30, 100, 270, 280, 155 games.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's like what we said when he got suspended. Like, you love Fernando Tatis Jr. I absolutely am enamored by Fernando Tatis Jr. But when you see someone that special, you want the most out of him.
Dude, when he is healthy, and you haven't seen it in big stints, but when he is healthy, dude, first 7 games of this season, you're like, okay, here we go.
These first 12, really.
First 12,
it hasn't been
right.
perfect, you're right, but he's been a great player until he got hurt the other night. All right. On the other side, updates from Dallas, where Luka has made his return. That game is well underway. Mavericks and Lakers from Dallas. We have Jim's back page still ahead. We're here until 6 p.m. John and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres beating the A's today 2-1, winning the series and moving to 10-3 on the year. Best record in baseball. They have an off day tomorrow before they start a 3-game series at home against the Colorado Rockies. Luka making his return to Dallas against the Mavericks tonight. Lakers, they lead the Mavericks 49-47 with 4 minutes left to go in the first half. And tonight, half hour from now, SDFC Midweek Live with Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez, a full hour of SDFC talk. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today.
All right, we do have some post-game reaction from Mike Schilt that we shared a couple of hours ago that we're going to share with our listeners coming up shortly. As the Padres improve to 10-3, they win in Sacramento over the A's 2-1, and they do it without Jackson Merrill, without Fernando Tatis Jr., without Jake Cronenworth. So that is impressive, and they win a series, and they get to 10-3 overall. So let's hear from Schilt. It starts with just his general takeaway, the win, doing it shorthanded. You'll get some injury updates in here as well. This was Mike Schilt post-game after a Padres win.
Yeah, team effort, hard earned. I mean, it's a good win. Finished up a road trip. Quick turnaround. Going to play regardless of circumstances. Guys got after today, man. It was a really gritty win, and Vasquez did a great job setting the tone on the mound.
You talked about Bogarts the other day. I imagine you saw more of what you had been seeing from Bogarts today, just maybe the results coming
Yeah,
out.
you just see good at bats, and that's the thing that we talk about occasionally. I don't get too wrapped up in the numbers. The numbers can be skewed either way. But I've seen a guy in Bogey since the first live batting practice in spring training look like a guy that's really locked in, has a good swing going. So, I've seen good swings, good at bats, taking his walks, and doing some damage in the zone, a couple doubles a day. Really impressive at bats by Bogey.
Do you have any updates on Tatis and Cronenworth?
I do. Nothing, Crony, we still feel like cramp, still getting some of that out of there, inflammation fluid a little bit out of there. We do expect him, but we'll hold our feet to the fire with him being in there on Friday. Toddy had a good night, good day today. Could have been available in a pinch. Clearly stayed away from him. So he's optimistic. We're optimistic as well.
For Friday, just to be clear.
We're optimistic for Friday, but again, we got some time between now and then to evaluate it. So we reserve our right, but they're both tracking in a good place.
Both tracking in a good place, John.
Yeah, again, it was kind of non-committal to it. He didn't definitively say, oh, yeah, Jake already had me write his name in the lineup. Or Toddy said, you have to. He didn't say that. So he didn't fully commit. He said positive things, that they're improving. They feel like they're in a good place. But he didn't guarantee that they would play Friday. And by the way, nor did Kevin. Like Kevin said, they might miss maybe they missed another game. Maybe they missed another 2 games.
I mean, it wouldn't make me feel that great if on Saturday, Tatis and Cronenworth still aren't in the lineup.
Yeah. Well, then you start having more questions about Toddy.
Right. And there still isn't a resolution if they're going to put them on the IL or not.
Right.
So it's just, I guess, literally a day-to-day type of thing. But from the sound of it, and then talking to Kevin today, maybe dodged bullets. I mean, it didn't look good in real time.
Dude, last night, what I was thinking was like, what is going on?
Season over.
You had Dylan Cease ineffectiveness. You had Merrill go on the IL, which was a surprise. You have multiple position players, critical pieces. Tatis and Cronenworth leave the game due to injuries that do not look good when you watch it on TV.
Oh, no, they looked awful.
It wasn't just like, no big deal. It looked like it was a really, really bad night. Not because of the score. You're going to lose games.
Yes.
Okay. You lose a game 10-4, they'll lose another game 10-4. That's fine. And they'll beat teams 10-4 too. But to lose the players was the huge concern. Now you look at it 24 hours later through a different lens. Maybe I'm not as concerned as I was a day ago. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I was super concerned in real time. I take a step back. I'm like, maybe it's day to day. Aren't we all? But I don't know who to believe or what to believe or what really happened.
I mean, Jake literally collapsed in the batter's box.
Couldn't get out of the box.
Tatis, we've seen that, swing and grimace before from him, which resulted in multiple IL stints and eventually, labrum surgery on his shoulder. So it's like, dude, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Jackson goes on the IL. Dylan Cease sucks. Jake Cronenworth collapses in the box. A couple innings later, Tatis leaves the game. Everyone's just going to center field because everyone's injured.
Right, because the clubhouses in Sacramento are over the center field wall.
Oscar Gonzalez, he arrives mid-game. He gets put right into the game because of injury, and then a ball goes under his glove, costs the team 2 runs.
It wasn't a great night.
No, it wasn't.
Now, again, you look at it 24 hours later, you're like, well, now they won a game without any of these guys. Now we're being told we've dodged bullets, right? Everything is fine. They didn't say it that strongly, but they did say it with Merrill. Oh, the Monday thing is precautionary. He just needs a day. And then the next day it was, well, he needs 10. Went from 1 day to 10 days. Honestly, with Merrill, listen, injuries are a part of it. There will be players that go on the IL. The reason for more concern is Tatis. I just can't deal with him going on the IL again for our mental health. And again, he doesn't want to go on the IL.
No,
I'm not saying he's going on the IL. I'm just saying I can't deal with him going on the IL.
Because what he knows is he knows the narrative. And he understands if he continues to get put on the IL season after season after season, I mean, that's who he is. And he can't run away from it unless he, flips that narrative around.
Right.
And hearing him, or not hearing him, but just seeing quotes from him, like, I'm not going on the IL. That is him saying, like, no, I can't go on the IL because I know that, one, I'll get ripped for it. When it's not really Tatis's fault, but it is his fault. It's his body's fault.
Right.
Like his body's betraying him.
Right.
Tatis doesn't want this. No one wants this. But his body has just betrayed him over and over and over again. And that narrative of going on the IL again, like he just does not want to do it.
Right.
Other players, I'm sure, Jackson Merrill didn't want to go on the IL the other day, but it's not like he has a career worth of IL stints like Tatis does.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%. The thing with Tatis, you're right. It's like, that maybe you try to keep yourself off the IL. Look at last year.
I know he waited until he
thing.
couldn't play anymore.
So you're damned either way.
Right.
Because if you go on immediately last year because of the leg, you're like, this guy went on the IL a day into the season.
Well, the one thing that you could look at with Tatis is even though he had 3-4 subluxations of his shoulder in 2021.
Yeah.
And he only played, I think, 130 games.
Yep.
Still hit 41 home runs.
Right.
So, even with a bum shoulder, he could do it. The one thing, though, now is what we saw at the beginning of the year. Would that change? And that is basically Tatis is your leadoff man, and he has unleashed, cuffs off, and go run wild, my guy.
Right.
Yeah,
it's so funny because Fernando Tatis Jr., you could argue, hasn't even entered his prime. He's 26.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say 27 to 30, right? 26, 29, whatever you want to say.
Still pretty prime-ish.
He's right there. Make no mistake. But we've experienced multiple careers for a guy that's only 26 from what he looked like when he came up.
So many ups and downs.
The suspension to the 40 home runs. I don't even know how to describe it, to the swinging 3-0 thing. That was 10 decades ago.
That was during the COVID time.
To his brilliant postseason performances, St. Louis during COVID, last year against Atlanta and LA, at least the first 3 games of that series against LA. He's just a very unique player in Padres franchise history.
He is,
which is great. It's great. It's great.
I'm just scared that, in 10 years from now, which is a long time, who even knows if we're even here, but you're going to get my point.
You're saying meteor, or are you saying dead, or are you saying we have different jobs?
All the above.
Meteor, dead, different job.
Yeah, we get different jobs on the day the meteor strikes.
Right.
The narrative of Tatis, and you've said it before, the biggest what if career.
Well, that's the worst thing you could say. If
I
that's
know.
what we're saying in 10
Well,
years.
how many games has he missed in his time?
Oh, man, we always
in the big leagues.
It's always interesting.
It's ridiculous.
Well, again, it's not his fault there was COVID, but
I know.
You know what I mean? I do want to do that deep dive.
Don't do the COVID year as far as games missed.
No, he didn't miss any games.
I know.
So first year he missed 78 games. Let's just out of 162 or out of max. Write this down.
Hold on.
Put this in your phone.
Okay, go.
This is out of max games. 78, as in these are games he didn't play. Plus 1, he's played 59. Okay, just do it. 79. Plus 32. Plus 162.
Hold on. Okay.
Did you do the 162?
Mm-hmm.
Plus 21. Plus 60. Plus 1 today.
355.
Okay, so he's missed, again, everyone's going to miss some games, but he's missed 355 games.
He's missed a total of
over 2 years.
Over 2 seasons.
Now, one of them he was literally suspended for, but
injured,
but already hurt that
mostly
year.
injured.
So let's, as we do the deeper dive, how many games has Tatis been eligible, or how many games have been played over those years? So as in 162, 60, 162, 162, 162, and now 13. That's the question. As in, what percent of games has he missed? To me, it's pretty interesting.
We're doing math on the air. Hold on.
I like it. 1, 2,
do 162
3,
times how many seasons?
162 times 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Plus
60.
60 plus.
I'm such an idiot. Plus
13.
60 plus 13. So no, that can't be right. 721 is the max games. He's missed 355 out of 721. That can't be right.
That's right.
That can't be right.
Why?
Because he's played 528 games.
Okay. Is the math not mathing?
Math's not mathing, dude. Something's not working. I'll figure it out at a break.
It's a lot, okay?
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's why we have PTSD whenever Tatis gets hurt or leaves a game. It's like, oh no.
This is the one time you cannot go anywhere for Jim's back page, because we'll explain everything that went wrong yesterday. Because it went haywire and Jim is to blame. We'll explain with his back page next.
San Diego sports traffic.
This report.
Okay, hold on. Luka has 31 at the half.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, didn't we say he would likely go off against his former team?
11 for 16, 6 of 8 from 3, 31 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Lakers lead the Mavs 60-57 at the half.
That's why I said he scored 101 points.
I need a 60 piece from Luka tonight. Like,
Well,
show no mercy.
That's below the average. He's
I
on
know
pace
it
for
is.
62.
I know. I need more. I need 70.
I mean, 16 field goal attempts, 11 to 16. I watched for a few moments while we were doing the show. I saw him miss like 3 shots.
Me too.
But while I haven't been watching, he's made 11 shots.
I guess he's just on fire when we're not watching.
And by the way, 3-point games. He's got 31. The Lakers only leading in Dallas 62-57. Yesterday on the back page, would you like to explain?
All right. I got duped. So I'm partly blaming James for this, but it's a lot my fault.
Right.
James, one of our loyal listeners, watches on YouTube in the YouTube chat all the time. He sends me stories on my Instagram. And I saw this story yesterday that he sent me. And it was about the roller coaster at Belmont Park.
And you said it goes upside down.
And it's going to be a new renovation
to a wooden roller coaster.
Wooden roller coaster. Hey, you guys believe me?
I know. I questioned it without even listening because I don't care typically about the back page. I questioned it like 4 times. Like, wait, a wooden roller coaster is going to go upside down? Oh, that's interesting because it's never happened in the history of mankind.
But you still let me say it.
I let you say it.
And you guys were like, okay. And then after the show, Brent goes, hey, we just got a text. I think that was an April Fool's joke.
100% April Fool's
joke. So I looked it up, and I didn't even realize that was a 100% April Fool's joke. So I'm pretty good with not getting duped by April Fool's jokes. But hey, look,
this wasn't April 1st.
A week later, you could get me.
Right.
And I got.
Okay.
So I'm an idiot.
How many people booked their trip to Belmont Park?
Nobody did.
For the big roller coaster.
Well, for me, that was the funniest thing because remember on April Fool's Day, Jim went on that big rant about how dumb April Fool's is, and it's impossible to get fooled and tricked anymore by these. And then
here we go.
Less than a week later.
All right, let's get to the real back page today.
It's time for Jim's back page.
I gotta blame the fans and the media. And after that, it's the lineman's fault, it's the coach's fault, the owner's fault, the turf, referees.
Today's stories that you might have missed.
So the Pittsburgh Pirates are off to a bad start. Shocker. But it's not just on the field. It's off the field with the Pirates now.
Off the field?
Well, first, did you see that they briefly removed the Roberto Clemente sign
right field line
in right field?
Yes.
That was awful.
Well, they replaced it with like a Yingling beer sign or something. Like, hey, forget about Clemente. Let's just put some signage here for an advertiser. Isn't that what they did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then quickly
they had to change that back
because
that didn't go over well.
Roberto Clemente Jr. was like, what are you doing? I think that was him.
Yeah, you might want to contact us first on this
the
one.
Clementes are pretty important to your franchise.
Right.
Well, this just popped up yesterday.
Okay.
Pirates fans have found where their Bucco bricks have gone. Now, a Bucco brick is just like what at Petco Park has with the bricks, and you can put your name on it and whatever. So there were renovations to PNC Park over the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And fans going to the park this year were frustrated because they couldn't find their Bucco bricks outside outside PNC Park. And they were wondering where they went. And emails to the Pirates organization, nothing was returned. And fans that have had these bricks outside of PNC Park for literally 25 years, all the way dating back to 1999. Well, they have found the bricks, John. Somebody has found the bricks and sent it into KDKA-TV. These bricks that went missing, thousands of commemorative bricks that were removed earlier this year, were found at a waste site, just a garbage site, all stacked up, and fans are furious. Now, the Pittsburgh Pirates have come out and said this happens a good amount when they do renovations, but they also said that, look, we realize that this was a mistake, and we will, figure out ways to have these commemorative bricks be shown in the park in some, fashion. They have to do renovations because these bricks are 25 years old. They need to
just replace the bricks.
I know, but again, the bricks were missing
and thrown out,
and they got
without telling
anybody. And fans found these bricks at a just random waste site.
Again, what do they say about like a leopard doesn't change its? What do they say, Brent? Spots, zebras change its. Like the Pirates are just a poorly run organization, so they're poorly run.
Yeah, they're awful.
So that's why. I mean, when you don't win, but they don't win anywhere, right? They're not winning on field. They're not winning off field. They just are a bad organization.
They're an awful organization. Yeah. And Paul Skeens, it's the best thing that's happened to them in 2
decades.
Enjoy your
2 years with them because they're going to trade him.
Yep, he'll be gone once he becomes a free agent. LeBron James got immortalized today. John, did you hear about this?
I saw as like a Ken doll.
Yeah, LeBron James is now a Barbie. Well, Ken doll. He's a Ken. Doll. He's a Ken doll.
Yeah.
The Lakers and LeBron James announced today that he has become the first Ken ambassador.
And then did he make the announcement by saying, "I'm just Ken"?
No, I'm just LeBron.
How's it go?
I'm just
everywhere
Ken.
Else I am a 10.
Kind of, yeah. Good job. Did you watch that movie actually?
With Kristen, yeah, she took me.
It's like one of the only movies you've ever watched.
It's the last time I saw a movie in a theater.
The LeBron doll is incredibly detailed, featuring the 4-time NBA champ's signature facial hair, a custom Letterman jacket, crossbody bag.
You actually don't know English.
I thought
Cross. Yes. Yeah,
after the show, I'm going to go do CrossFit.
In the English language, commonly used. Jones uses it. I read it to him in books. He reads it to me. It's not cross. It's cross. You are really red. Where are you from? What part of the country were you schooled in?
Oh man!
Make sure to donate to the Red Cross
or the Red Cross.
Red Cross.
Red Cross. Shades, Beats headphones, a gold watch, and merch for his LeBron James Family Foundation. The Ken doll, or I guess LeBron doll, will be available for $75 in stores and online. Oh, dude. I hate you because that was so good.
Do you have anything else?
I got nothing. I can't believe I did that. I was like,
wait, what was the sentence you were trying to read? Because you said like
crossbody.
You called it crossbody?
Crossbody bag.
I don't know what to say.
Should we start rethinking the back page? Maybe?
Yes. Honestly, what I need, you know how analytics are a huge part of sports? I need to sit down with Mary, our program director, and do a deep dive on every segment's ratings. There's no chance back page is higher than last or second to last in ratings.
John, it's the literal last segment of our show.
Yeah, but the last inning of a baseball game people watch.
But we're not playing. This isn't a baseball game.
So are you saying just punt on it?
I'm not saying punt on anything. But you have a better idea for the last segment of the show?
I don't. That's
okay,
what I've done
there we go.
10 years.
Back page, baby.
Heard you say cross.
We could do some sort of cross promotion.
Cross promotion.
Wow. Cross promotion.
Yeah, we could do that. I love that. Let's do a cross promotion with our competition. I love that idea.
Let's do it. This is hey,
simulcast.
No, call them up. Call their shows. Hey guys, it's John and Jim. Want to do some cross promotion?
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. We're back tomorrow at 2.
Theoretically.
Getting you ready for another Padres homestand.
Do you know how to speak English?
Seriously.
Jones speaks English.
Man. All right, Rockies will be here Friday. We're back tomorrow at 2. If you miss anything, you know where to find it. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. STFC Midweek Live on the other side. Keep it here. San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
San Diego Sports Traffic.
This report